Hey!
This is JJ and Alex.
I made a name for myself, I told you I won't be denied.
As you wrap up your day, it's time to get your fix of the teams you live for and the sports you love. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hey, welcome on in, everybody. Oh, my goodness, the amount of quarterback highlights or lowlights. No, you know what they do? They show all the highlights. So all of the quarterback
nobody
highlights.
wants to watch their picks and their underthrown balls.
No. Boy, they're showing Shedeur Sanders, and he apparently, according to the ESPN highlights that they just threw together for Shedeur, as they showed some B-rolls, they're talking about him. He had a phenomenal game against BYU in that bowl game, apparently. Just keep repeating
They
that
showed
one
all
throw.
two of the plays he made that were positive.
They keep showing that one throw to Travis Hunter, and Travis Hunter's the one who made that play, man. Anyway, the draft is hilarious, and we are going to laugh our butts off because it is draft coverage day. We've got tons going on here on the program. Sly Sylvester is going to come in between 4 and 6 o'clock. You know what that means? JJ, it's going to be a friggin' party.
Wall-to-wall NFL draft.
That's what we do, man. We have a
Excited.
lot of fun on days like this, getting ready for the NFL draft. Not just the locals, not just the overarching view of the NFL, but everything that we're going to break down is going to be through the lens of Sly, who, of course, does all the homework and gets us all ready for this draft. And look, if somebody's going to get that person who's somebody else or a GM is going to forget about or not really care that much about, or somebody who's gone through the process, somebody from combine to draft to all of that, Sly's going to dip in and give us his expertise on that. Everything good, JJ?
If you're watching the stream, Orange Crush, baby.
JJ has decided to go.
Bo Nix jersey on.
JJ's decided to go all in on Bo Nix's jersey to
Why
the point
not?
of getting a legit Orange Crush Broncos number 10 jersey. Who was the other? Was there any other previous number 10 in the history of the Broncos that was a good number 10?
No,
because I think, but number 10 is a great number. That's a great jersey number. And so if Bo Nix can do it, the problem is that when it's in the Orange Crush jersey, it makes it look like it's throwback enough that it looks like he may have already accomplished some things and he hasn't really accomplished that much.
But throwbacks from the 70s.
It's cool, man. I like it.
Manuel Sanders is pretty good. He wore 10, so I'll give him that.
Okay.
Jerry Jeudy, we don't talk about him anymore.
But so far, not quarterbacks, just wideouts.
Nope, just wideouts and a few other guys. So, yeah, Bo Nix owns this number for the Broncos, and hopefully they'll be able to retire it someday.
Well, listen, we've got tons to jump into. I'm sure we're going to get a full breakdown of the Broncos.
Can't
what
wait.
Their draft is going to look like. I always love when they go, here are the team's needs. Yeah, like right now. Oh, of course. Yeah, the Vikings need a guard, they need a cornerback, and they need a defensive tackle. Those are all things that every team needs, probably, by the way. And short of, because frankly, we could be partway through the year, and J.J. McCarthy suddenly makes it look like that the Vikings actually needed a quarterback, too, the entire time. You never know. J.J. McCarthy, they're going all in on a guy who was, when did he get hurt? It was during the preseason, right? Or was it during
he never
camp?
played a game.
Never played an actual real regular season game.
When the season started.
And that's when we had the second coming of what's his name? Not Carson Wentz. Sam Darnold, the other redheaded guy. Who is going to, don't say
That's
my
right.
quarterback, okay? I
QB1 in Seattle.
I refuse. Oh, my
Seahawks
goodness.
are going all the way this year.
Yeah, can't wait. All the way to the top of next year's draft.
Well,
that's where we're going.
There's probably better quarterbacks next year, so good for them.
Yeah, you notice
This is not a great draft.
You
class
notice
for
I'm not
quarterbacks.
wearing my Seahawks gear. That I didn't bring any of my
You're
Seahawks
lacking
gear in.
enthusiasm.
It's a dark time right now for this franchise. And by the way, the Color Rush jerseys that they wear, I'm actually very much vehemently against. The bright neon green, unwatchable on TV. My kid thinks it's cool, though. So
I don't like the Seahawks neon green. I like the old school Seahawks
You're saying
colors.
that with a straight face while you're wearing highlighter orange, okay? You can't say you
Are
can't
you
have that
saying
attitude.
I'm a hypocrite?
Yes.
I have an opinion on Seattle's jerseys. I like their AFC jerseys, not their NFC jerseys.
Listen, when they bust out the old Steve Largent blue, I'm all for it, man.
That's absolutely
with the old
a little
school,
Dave Craig. Give me some Dave Craig.
Give me the totem.
Give me some Kurt Warner.
Give me the legit totem Seahawk on the sleeve, and I'm all for it.
Some Cortez Kennedy.
Yes, man. Give me the Boz.
The Boz. So that's the kind of Seahawks uniforms
you know what?
I'm talking about. Those are the Seahawks
that's
uniforms
what I'm gonna say,
I like.
That's what I'm going to save up for next time, by the way. I'm going to save up for a Brian Bosworth Seattle Seahawks jersey. And I'm not saying it's one of the belly ones I want too. I want the mesh belly shirt.
Yeah.
Give me that one. Oh my goodness. Okay.
The mesh.
We got lots to get through today. Thanks for being a part of the program. JJ and I bring you this show every day, courtesy of the good folks at G2G Bars. They bring you the program. Awesome protein bar. Give it a shot wherever you find the protein bars in the refrigerated section. That's where you're going to find them because they are dang fresh and they're a local company. We love those guys. Let's kick off with the cut right here. Let's get to the NBA before we start getting too far into the NFL, which is what we're going to do for the vast majority of the show starting at 4 o'clock. So let's get in right here. It's the NBA playoffs. It's the cut right now.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
And this portion of the show brought to you by Trajan Wealth, TRAJANwealth.com for all of your trusted financial needs in retirement. Trajan Wealth. JJ, the NBA playoffs have seen the Lakers even the series with the T-Wolves. Back to the norm, I guess. JJ Redick coming onto the court, saying a few F-bombs. Draymond was saying a few F-bombs last night as well. Everybody dropping F-bombs in the middle of the court, getting picked up on the television microphone, but that's beside the point.
It's that time of year.
Fired up the Lakers. Lakers get the win in Game 2. They're tied up at 1 apiece. The Pacers, and yesterday's conversation we had about Tyrese Halliburton being the most overrated player in the NBA as voted by his peers. That's not a fun one to be voted into, by the way.
No, but what did he do last night?
He had a double-double, and they freaking went to 2-0 over the Bucks now in this series.
I don't understand. Like, it's funny which players in the league get picked on by the other players.
Oh, yeah.
It's a weird thing. Who
Never
is
know.
not in the club? So Tyrese Halliburton and Rudy Gobert are not in the club for some reason, but they are good players.
Is Tyrese Halliburton like an awkward dude in his personal life?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Because that's kind of what we got
it.
with. That's what it's a little bit what we got with Rudy, right?
Well, Rudy's from France, and he's just different, and it's okay. He doesn't fit the certain mold of NBA guys, and so a lot of guys like him, obviously, Rudy Gobert has nothing in common with Draymond Green, and he should be proud of that.
Yeah.
You can't see those two hanging out, right? That's the essence of this. You don't understand. Like, this is just straight up. Like, these guys bully each other, man. Like, if they see a weakness, and these are the most competitive people on the planet, if they see a weakness in somebody else they're playing against, they will attack it. And that's what Draymond did to Rudy Gobert.
The psychological warfare during games is really fun.
Sir, do people trash talk in the NFL? Certainly. Do you talk?
Oh, yeah.
Is it a thing? Do we think about it? No. But in the NBA, we know all about trash talk on the court in the NBA. It's a thing.
Somebody put together like a supercut of Rajon Rondo when he would play teams, and the opposing team would be at the foul line, and they'd miss a free throw, and he'd walk up and just do the automatic high five. And the players were so mad about it. They were so mad. And they would always miss the second one, too. Because Rajon Rondo was like, I'm going to get in these guys' head in the weirdest, smallest way possible. And you've got yourself quite a set of games now, because as of last night, the Thunder, by the way, have beaten the Grizzlies by a total of 75 points of the first 2 games. Not a bad start for the Thunder.
Isn't that what a 1 seed should do to an 8?
Listen, as a guy who watched my Seahawks, my Sonics lose to Dikembe Mutombo as a 1 seed to an 8 seed, I will tell you, the 8 seed should always be losing like that. And to see the Grizzlies, who are basically like, can we just get this thing over with at this point, right? Isn't that their attitude they're taking?
Yeah,
into
they
this
don't
thing?
have a coach. It's a weird situation.
Do they win one game when they're in Memphis in the next 2 2 games?
It's going to be a sweep.
You don't think so?
No.
Pacers over the Bucks. Thunder over the Grizzlies. The Lakers get their revenge back on the
Lakers
Timberwolves.
Had to have that game.
Yeah, and you know what? What was great about that game is that the Lakers played phenomenal defense. I'm not a huge I always roll my eyes about how good the defense can be and blah blah blah. The Timberwolves, that's their thing. They play really really good defense.
Yep.
Probably number 1 defensive team in the league.
Yes.
However, the Lakers went in and they played better defense than the Timberwolves
Held
did
them
last
to
night.
85 points. which is really impressive. One of the most important plays in that game was a defensive play by a 40-year-old, LeBron James. So the score got down to 9. It was like 2.5 minutes left, 3 minutes. And Luka turned the ball over. And Anthony Edwards has the ball going the other way. He's about to cut it to 7 with 2.5 minutes left. LeBron goes and just takes the ball right away from him, goes down the other end and scores. That was the game. So LeBron James made a defensive play to help the Lakers get that win. Otherwise, if he goes down there and scores and it's a 7-point game with 2.5 minutes left.
A lot of different situations.
Yeah, and then maybe the Lakers start to get a little bit more tight. But LeBron stepped up in a big situation like that. It's still at age 40. He's able to make plays like that in a playoff game. It was pretty phenomenal. The Lakers responded really well. They had to have that game because if they go back to Minnesota down 2-0, that series is over.
Pistons Knicks tomorrow night. Let me see what's going on tonight. You got Magic Celtics tonight. You've got Heats Cavs tonight. You've got Warriors Rockets. Those are your big ones. And, of course, the Rockets are going to try to figure out how to solve the Warriors puzzle. And that puzzle is that they have a ton of experience in the playoffs. And that goes so far. Look, it's one thing to have a lot of games under your belt. Look, the Bucks have a lot of games. Giannis has a bunch of games under his belt, too.
But they're playing a team that's also experienced.
Yes.
Pascal Siakam won an NBA title. Tyrese Halliburton has NBA experience or playoff experience.
So when you look at what that series has become, it's like, hey, and this is why, to your point, you may have made the prediction of the offseason so far because no one's given the Warriors the thought that they're going to go on to the NBA Finals. Let alone, I mean, even the Western Conference Finals sometimes for me is kind of a hard sell for that team. But when you talk about how good the Thunder are right now, that's hard to picture them not just keeping this train rolling. But if they do face a team, even like the Lakers, or even like if they have to face off and play some of these teams who have a lot of experience in the postseason, what is SGA going to do? I think it's a different story between Oklahoma City than it is to Houston. Houston's definitely not ready for this stage yet.
I agree with that. Houston's where the Thunder were last year, and maybe not even quite there yet. They had a phenomenal regular season, 52 wins. But there's only 4 games in the standings that separate the 2nd seed Houston Rockets and the 7th seed Golden State Warriors. It's not like there's a normal 2 versus 7 gap.
Right.
It's 4 games. And you got to give the Rockets credit for putting themselves in this position. But are they 4 games better than the Golden State Warriors? Absolutely not. And you saw that in Game 1 with the Warriors winning on the road by 10. And the Rockets are now up against the ropes tonight. Similar situation the Lakers were in where they dropped one at home. The Rockets have got to get one tonight or I think that series is over.
With the Cavs and the Heat in that series, and speaking of teams that have, I don't know what to think about this Cavs team in the postseason because you've got a 60-plus win Celtics team who's your 2 seed in the East, and you've got a 64-win team in the Cavaliers who were your overall number 1 seed. But the reality is that are you getting a version of the Cavs? I mean, obviously not against the Heat, but are you going to get a version of the Cavs that they come up short because they have so much inexperience, I guess, in the playoffs? Same type of thing. I mean, can you look at a guy like Donovan Mitchell and say, yeah, he's really inexperienced? He's got himself, he's got under his belt a handful of playoff runs, and while they didn't go very far, he still has that ability to kind of, get into a game. And I think that a postseason, what does it require for somebody to beat this Celtics team? You know what I mean? Everybody's already crowning this team out of the East, not just to go to the Eastern Conference Finals and to win an Eastern Conference Finals, but to win the NBA title. We saw the player poll yesterday, JJ, that put him at what? A 60% chance.
It's an overwhelming majority of NBA players believe the Celtics are going to win it again.
So players across the league and the anonymous poll said the Celtics are going to run away with this thing, and they say the Thunder aren't ready for it. I don't think that that's necessarily the case. I don't know why the Celtics are considered so unbeatable when it comes to the finals. You tell me why we're supposed to be so.
Look at their starting lineup. Read off their starting lineup. I'll do it right now. You look at the Celtics and you look at their starting lineup, and now they're a little bit banged up. Jason Tatum, we're going to wait and see what the deal is with that. But if you look at the talent that the Celtics roll out there as their starters, I mean, you got Jason Tatum, who's a phenomenal player, one of the best in the league. Jaylen Brown, who's like the Robin to his Batman, but it's like Jason Tatum's their 1 and Jaylen Brown's a 1A. Jaylen Brown's really, really good. Yep. And on top of that, you got Drew Holiday, who's a champion, multiple champion.
Also one of the best defenders in the league.
One of the best defensive guards in the league. And then you're running out Kristaps Porzingis, who injuries have derailed his career to an extent, but when he is 100% healthy, he is a unicorn. Mm-hmm. He's a problem. And then you throw Derek White in there, who was one of the most underrated players in that NBA player poll.
And then
Derek
they just got
White.
That's
their starters,
right?
Alex.
They just got the sixth man of the year in Peyton Pritchard too. So
and Al Horford,
not bad.
Who's a well-seasoned player. And you've got a lot of nice guys off the bench. Sam Hauser can come in and knock down threes. They got guys they can throw out there that can really make it happen. So, I mean, you look at their starting five. That answers your question. Who boasts a starting five that good outside of them? Well, one team that thinks they do is probably the Cleveland Cavaliers, right? And that's what's going to be interesting if we finally get to – well, last year we saw it, and the Cavs were not ready. They lost the semifinals to the Celtics 4-1. Are the Cavs better prepared now with some of the depth that they have, which I think is key for them? You look at their depth, and that might be what the Cavs need to beat the Celtics. I look at their starting lineup, and it's pretty good. You've got Evan Mobley, who's now an All-Star, Jared Allen, who has been an All-Star, Darius Garland, who's right there as an All-Star, Donovan Mitchell, and Max Strus. That's a really, really good starting lineup. Max Strus obviously has won a lot of games and played in a lot of big playoff games with the Miami Heat. And then you look at their bench. I mean, DeAndre Hunter's a really good player. They got him in that Hawks trade. That was an excellent pickup. Sam Merrill gave him 24 minutes the other night. He's a great three-point shooter. He can make big shots for them. And Ty Jerome was in the Sixth Man of the Year award voting, and he's been tremendous this year. So, and they like Isaac Okoro, who comes off the bench and plays defense. So their depth, they hope and believe, is the difference when they play the Celtics. I don't know. I look forward to seeing it if it happens.
Let me looking on the Western side. We were just talking about rosters. So the Warriors have this starting lineup of Steph, Jimmy, and Draymond, and then probably Moses Moody and Brandon Pajemski.
Yeah.
That's Buddy Hield comes in. Gary Payton II also comes in, kind of those two spots there. But obviously with Butler, Draymond, and Steph Curry, you've got multiple championships in there and guys who know how to win. Is that good enough to be able to get? Is a roster with those three old dudes on it good enough to get to not just the Western Conference Finals, but to maybe even make a push against the Celtics in an NBA Finals? If the Thunder aren't those teams, isn't that team?
It's a great question, and obviously I've come on the radio here in the last week and I said the Warriors can get to the Finals because I believe that those three guys, and you throw in a Brandon Pajemski, who's a nice young player who gives you a lot of nice numbers, can kind of be that fourth guy. And Kevon Looney's still coming off the bench, giving him good minutes. Doesn't score, obviously, but he does a lot of good things for them. Gary Payton II is a dude. Buddy Hield's a good shooter. So they've got some guys. They don't have the depth of the teams I just talked about.
Yeah.
I don't think they can win the NBA title. I think they can get to the finals in the West because Steph is still playing at an elite level, because Draymond knows how to play, because Jimmy Butler is one of the best post-season players we've seen in this generation. For him to get those Miami Heat teams to the finals, I just can't believe it. I just, the way he played and the way he is such a force in the playoffs, postseason basketball is well suited to him. I just don't know if they have enough depth to be able to beat a Celtics team or a Cavs team if they were able to beat the Celtics. And I'm wondering, how do they fare against the depth of an Oklahoma City Thunder team? That's a great question, and the Thunder are the one seed for a reason. They had a phenomenal regular season for a reason. I'm just not sure if they have the veteran savvy and the playoff experience that would be needed to put away a Golden State Warriors team or even a Timberwolves team at this point, depending on who they end up facing in that conference final. I do think the Thunder do get to the conference final. I like the Clippers to finish off the Nuggets in this series, especially if Kawhi's going to play the way he did in Game 2. But I think that the Warriors can beat the Thunder if Steph, Jimmy, and Draymond are at their best in that series.
You know whose championship window has been slammed shut? And I'm saying that with even still having one of the best guys on the entire planet on that roster. The Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah.
That championship
Isn't that weird?
window is absolutely shut.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to figure out a way to build back.
They're not getting past the first round this year.
To build it back up around Giannis. I mean, obviously.
What do they do?
No idea, because I think we looked at his
Giannis
numbers.
is going to make $70 million next
it's
year.
like 80 at the end of his career, right? At the end of this contract, I mean. That's bonkers.
They really miss Drew Holiday.
Ugh.
They really miss him.
What a
They had no
move.
choice. They were cash. They were in cap hell, and
Yeah.
they've had to do some things. And the Damian Lillard thing hasn't worked out the way they had hoped. They're going to lose this series of the Pacers, and then if that's the team you get to look out for, because that's a team that could blow it up.
All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. We have, the breaking news from the, I guess it's not breaking news, but today's big news, of course, was the retirement of one of the biggest stars in college basketball history here locally, and we'll chat about that coming up around the corner. And we've got much more to get to at the top of the hour. Of course, Sly's going to join us. I've got a really, really fun Would You Rather for JJ coming up in just a little while as well. You don't want to miss any of today. We're going to have tons of fun here in the studio. You can stream it on our YouTube page, the KSL Sports YouTube page. You can also stream it online at KSLSports.com. Sly will be in studio. He'll have a camera on him, so we'll have this you'll have this awesome setup of JJ's insanely ridiculous orange. Have you seen it on the camera? Is it
How does that pop on film?
is my face orange just being this close to him?
It is, yes.
Okay, good. I wanted to look a little bit like fake tanned. I wanted
Craving an orange sickle right now?
Yes, I am. We'll take
Craving
that
an orange
break.
creamy?
We'll come back. We got more to go. Stay here, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Your home for the best coverage of the Jazz, Utes, and Cougars is right here on The Zone. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
But Zeppelin bringing you back. Nice. I like it. Happy pre-draft day. It's NFL Draft Eve. That's a holiday. We celebrate it. And God bless you to those who are also observing NFL Draft Eve. And we hope that you take tomorrow off. And look, you know what? Take Friday off too. Boom. I just gave it to you. Might as well. By the way, on Friday, JJ and I are going to be out on the road from 3 to 6 at Providence Hall Charter School, a tuition-free public charter serving grades K through 12. Going to be out there in Harriman, 4557 West Patriot Ridge Drive in Harriman. Come join us out there. Going to be a fun day to get to know the school a little bit and see what they're doing out there. And, boy, one thing they're focusing on is athletics, too. So come on, check it out. Let's do it. BYU legend Jimmer Fredette announces retirement from pro basketball. There you go, JJ. There's the big news from the day.
End of an era.
I remember doing this was running up to the San Diego State BYU game, that 2011 season, when they came here to Provo.
Yeah.
And I was doing some bit for TV where I was going into the tents of the students who were camped outside, which, by the way, was a very disturbing
The smells.
The smells alone were I remember just like I climbed into these tents and I was like, this will be a great bit for TV. And I remember climbing in and regretting it immediately.
Oh my gosh.
Just like that. When somebody's sleeping bag gets touched.
Is this
it's
old pizza or something else?
Oh man. But you know what? It was a moment that encapsulated Jimmer mania to the extent that it felt like, okay, this is a great capture of students and the insanity of what Jimmer mania was, because even while we were in the middle of covering it, even while we were in the middle of watching it happen, you still didn't realize we couldn't believe how big it was. I can't believe this is in our library.
Oh, this is a vibe.
Come on.
Did they have Spotify in 2011? I don't remember.
Did you rip this off LimeWire? What happened? How did we get this?
LimeWire.
Oh, my goodness.
Man.
Yeah. Teach me how to Jimmer.
That was a wild time.
Look, BYU basketball this last year was phenomenal, right?
It felt similar to that.
Very similar.
Not in the sense it was about one player.
That's
this year was
the thing.
about the whole program. But you and I covered Jimmer Mania,
It was crazy.
and I had never been a part of anything like that. What it did is it gave us a glimpse here in Utah of what it was like to be a part of big-time college basketball. This is what it's like at Kentucky and Duke and North Carolina all the time. We felt that for a period of 6 months back in 2011. It was wild. It was a wild
bonkers.
ride.
It was bonkers because winning the Naismith is crazy. Like to have that type of attention, because even just to win the Naismith in an era when everything just stays east of the Mississippi, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't it feel like that?
Yeah, outside of UCLA or Arizona,
right?
Nobody out west really had an idea of what big-time college basketball felt like.
Right. And so I think that,
Gonzaga
obviously,
now you could add to that list.
Of all the things that he did, when you looked at what we got to watch quite a bit of what this guy did in his pro career, and obviously he went as a lottery pick to the Kings and didn't pan out. By the way, has carved out quite the financial boon for himself and Whitney and their family over in China. Like,
he played 5-6 years in the league.
Don't weep for the man financially.
And then went and made a fortune in China.
Yes.
He had a great, I know he didn't achieve the NBA success, so it's easy to call him a bust, but there's plenty of first-round draft picks that don't even make it to 5 years, and then he was able to do really well for himself overseas, which is what, honestly, 2/3 of the first round end up doing anyway.
Oh, yeah.
So,
ask Travis Hansen if that new house down there in Utah County
how did J.C. Carroll do?
Not bad.
As a professional athlete.
Not bad.
Didn't play a minute in the NBA, but carved himself a really nice legacy over at Real Madrid, and he is a legend over there.
I was also up at the Huntsman Center when Jimmer at the end of that first half threw up that half-court shot.
Yeah, I was there covering that game.
I've never heard a place, even though there were obviously BYU fans in the building, I've never heard the air get sucked out of a building like that.
So
the
Utah fans just didn't know how the air was sucked out of the Utah fans. The BYU fans were just so in shock about how incredible he was that night.
It was wild
that they didn't. You got to the point where he made that shot before the halftime buzzer. You're like, what are we watching here? This is insane. He can't miss.
He had a 75-point game when he was in China with the Shanghai Sharks. My kid at one point asked me if we could get a Shanghai Sharks jersey, and I promptly said no. Not because I was like, come on, man.
Why not?
I'm not going to get you a Jimmer Shanghai Sharks jersey, and now I regret it.
I would love to have one of those. That'd be pretty cool.
What I do know is that they could still produce it. Look, it's got to be on Temu somewhere. So,
well, yeah, that's a good point.
You've got
plenty overseas.
You've got so he had 49 points against the Arizona Wildcats when he was in college. That was a big one, of course, at the McHale Center down there. The Olympics with the Team USA 3-on-3 team, and they were like beyond the number one team in the world. And then they went in and
he got hurt,
and it was a bit of a air out of the building situation for that team that underperformed there at the Olympics. But I will tell you too, because we chatted with him last year at Media Days. Remember, he stopped by the booth because he was going on his way from Vegas. Team USA was there in Vegas doing their training stuff, and then he was going to hit the road to Paris like the very next day, kind of a thing. I've interviewed Jimmer, I guess, 5 or 6 times in my career. He's never been one to say, no, I can't do it or whatever. He's always been an awesome interview. He's always given his time. He's always been very cool about understanding, and also like the most chilled out, like, I mean, for a person who had a movement named after him, Jimmer Mania, he was always like the most chilled out dude on the planet. My kids got to go to a thing down in Provo at Riverside one time when he was down there and he was signing stuff and he took time out, and he was always been a pretty gracious dude. So pretty hard to not like a guy who is a nice guy on top of the fact that he's one of the best basketball players I've ever seen in person in my entire life, and that's even the pros that I'm talking about. Nobody took over games like that, like I'd ever seen before. And when you're like, he's not going to keep making shots like this, and he would actually just keep getting better and better, and they would all still go down, it seemed like. It was pretty wild. So
yeah, it was a special time, and it was a phenomenon for sure. But what I think the best tribute I could give to Jimmer is the fact that through it all, he just continued to be himself and stay true to his values and who he was. He got a lot of hate.
Oh, yeah.
He got a lot of hate. And a lot of people listening here right now are probably like, yeah, you know what? I hated him because he beat us. I didn't hate him because of him. But still, like, he took a lot of heat and a lot of hate. And there was just so much, I don't know what you want to call it, jealousy or whatever. He never changed who he was despite the love or the hate, despite the attention, overwhelming attention he got. I don't know that it was always comfortable for him, but he was always willing to do what he needed to do or was asked to do when it came to interviews or media responsibilities or the demands of what he was asked to do. I know he's done a lot of good in our community, so much good that we don't even know about or could even mention. People he's uplifted and met with and inspired. And ultimately, through everything he went through, whether you liked him or you didn't like him, which is dumb, but there was plenty that didn't, he never forgot who he was. He never forgot the people that really mattered to him. And he always maintained who he was throughout all of it. He's one of the nicest, good, pure human beings I've ever covered from an athletic standpoint. He never changed from the time that I first started interviewing him, was he a freshman at BYU, to the time we spoke to him last summer. It's like, hey, it's Jimmer. He has not changed one bit. He's the same. And that's a tribute to him that throughout all of that, he maintained who he was and what his values were.
It's a pretty remarkable career because it was one that didn't live up to a lot of the, from the on the paper hype that he got.
How could it have at the NBA level?
Yeah.
How could it have? How could he have continued to have 40-point games in the NBA level?
Well, I think
it wasn't
there are guys,
realistic.
Listen, I think there are guys like Peyton Pritchard who just won the Sixth Man of the Year that you look at and you go, oh, very similar game in the sense of throws up a million threes. Did he have a 40-point game this year?
He did actually. Yeah, I remember him and Derek White had him on the
because he made
him and Derek White had 40-point games in the same game.
And he had 10 or 11 threes in that game.
He made
or something
10
like
threes.
that.
Yeah.
So that's the type of thing that I think that a lot of people looked at and go, well, just do that. And it's like, wow, this level is so difficult, and it's hard to predict who's going to be extremely good at the next level.
And you got to be able to play both ways in the NBA.
Yes, that was a big knock, right? The defense.
And these are the best athletes in the world. 450 players in the NBA, in the entire planet. Only 450 people are good enough to play in that league.
You can knock the NBA for a lot, but I think from an athletic standpoint, nobody argues with the fact that those are the best athletes in the world, right?
I don't. I've covered everything. It's basketball is the most incredible athletes. The freak athletes are all in the NBA.
All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. We have a Would You Rather. This will get us started on some of our NFL draft coverage because it's a draft-centric type of a list that JJ's going to have to go through. It's going to be a Would You Rather, unlike any other we've had so far this year. So stay with us, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Listen, everybody! Real-life hypotheticals to get your brain churning. As JJ and Alex ask, would you rather?
Welcome back to JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. JJ's going to have a hard time being straight down the middle on this next list I'm about to ask him about here. The next Would You Rather, okay? I'm going to roll out a couple things here. Now, we get super negative when it comes to draft time. We love talking about the busts, right? But if you were to look at the number one overall picks over what is now, this will be the 53rd time that they have had a draft in the modern era, so to speak, of the NFL. And out of the 52 that have come previously, there's only one number one overall pick, obviously, every year. And out of those 52, it's a pretty dang good list of very, very good players. But there's also a good handful that you go, oh boy. And there's also a select few that you're like, oh my gosh, Jamarcus Russell. Right. Where you're like, I cannot believe that they took that guy. I can't believe we didn't see it. Usually the number one overall pick, you kind of go, at the very least from a PR standpoint, teams are like, look, everybody says you got to take him, so we probably should take this quarterback or whomever. A lot of teams get pushed into that, and it's not a lot of question who's going to be the number one overall pick this year. I think the consensus is because the Titans said they're not going to trade their number one, or they're not going to trade that pick away. They're probably going to take Cam Ward.
Lock it in. The Browns have already told Travis Hunter he'll be the second pick.
And most years, the number one overall pick tends to be not just, a really, really good player in college. They're also the guy that we kind of all look at and go, yeah, he probably deserves that, right? But it's just about whether or not you're going to get a sure thing. So this Would You Rather, JJ, is, first of all, it's going to go the positive. So these are the person who you want on your team that you're going to build around.
Okay. Number
Number one overall picks all time in the NFL. Okay. This is going to be a tough one for you to pick, I think. All right. Andrew Luck or Cam Newton?
I'm going to go Cam Newton.
Cam Newton or Matthew Stafford?
Stafford.
Matthew Stafford or Eli Manning?
Stafford.
We're all quarterbacks at this point.
Yep.
Matthew Stafford or Ed Too Tall Jones? He was a phenomenal player, by the way.
Ed Too Tall Jones won Super Bowls with
Yes,
the Cowboys.
he did.
That's a really tough one, actually, because I know my history there. I'm going to still go with Stafford.
Stafford or Orlando Pace?
Stafford, but Pace was an all-time great.
Orlando Pace or, let's see here, or Michael Vick?
Oh, man. Stafford or Vick? Stafford won a Super Bowl, so I'm going to stick with Stafford.
Okay, Stafford or Earl Campbell?
Earl Campbell.
Oh, see, the history got you there.
Yep, it did.
Sorry.
Earl Campbell is one of the most dominant running backs we've ever seen.
And that's why I only use Copenhagen. Remember, as a kid growing up in Texas.
Oh, yeah, no, he used
to do the Copenhagen commercials on TV.
That was one of his big endorsements.
Just a pinch of too much he can gum. I'm like, oh, boy.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing?
Just go, if you young'uns like Alex in their studio here, go on YouTube, look up Earl Campbell. Watch him running while someone tears his jersey off his body and he doesn't stop.
It's amazing. Okay, so Earl Campbell or O.J. Simpson? Put aside the double murder situation.
Just ignore all the off-the-field stuff.
I'll just call it off the field stuff.
I'm gonna do.
Hey, he just passed away this year, JJ. How dare you?
I'm gonna do the safe thing here. I'm gonna take Earl Campbell.
Okay, it's the safe thing.
Hey, if it does not fit, you must acquit.
Okay.
He's looking for the killer on the other side of the veil.
Earl Campbell or Troy Aikman?
Earl Campbell.
Troy Aikman. I mean Earl Campbell or John Elway?
John Elway.
Oh. John Elway
now
or...
Now you're going to make me do like a Sophie's Choice. Here we go. Here's Sophie's Choice.
And not yet.
Okay.
John Elway or Terry Bradshaw?
John Elway. Terry Bradshaw won 4 titles with the Steelers, but John Elway was much better than Terry Bradshaw.
John Elway...
If John Elway had the Steelers defense, John Elway would have won 4 Super Bowls.
I love those ifs. Yeah.
Well, if Terry Bradshaw was drafted by the Bengals instead of the Steelers.
And if my grandmother was a bicycle, if my grandmother had wheels, she'd be a bicycle. There's a lot of ifs and ands in there. Come on, man. And then the final one that you're going to have to choose between, because they both brought championships to your fared franchise. John Elway or Peyton Manning? Oh!
You gave me the Sophie's Choice.
I did. Got to do it.
I'm going to go John Elway, but
okay.
It hurts. It hurts. Hey, he didn't even throw he wasn't the number one overall pick.
That was the thing.
Well, Peyton Manning wasn't either.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
No. Was he?
Yeah,
yes, he was.
No, he was. He got second in the Heisman voting.
He was first. Yeah, you're right.
So he won the real award.
Right. That's right.
Being the number one overall pick.
No, I'm gonna go.
That's a great question. Number one overall pick or the Heisman Trophy, JJ?
Heisman Trophy.
Because the Heisman Trophy, who won it that year? It was Charles.
Was Charles Woodson win it there?
Charles Woodson. Yeah. What number did Charles Woodson go in that draft? And now I'm talking rookie scale years. I'm talking rookie scale stuff.
What was it?
It's very different. I don't know. Hey, Alex, you remember who Charles Woodson was? Okay. I want to see his draft, what he was. So he was the 4th overall pick. So still pretty good on the rookie scale of these days, right? Well, Heisman Trophy and 4th overall pick, or second in Heisman voting and the number 1 overall pick. I'm going to take the latter. Charles Woodson can keep that Heisman Trophy. I'm going to take my rookie scale number 1 overall pick. Let's go. I'm all about the money. You know that about me.
Oh, you are for sure.
I'm a total sucker. There's some other guys. Other people who are not mentioned of our ranking of the best number 1 overall picks. Bruce Smith.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
Widely considered one of the top 3 or 4. Let me see here. In terms of quarterbacks, I rolled out Andrew Luck, but Drew Bledsoe was also a number 1 overall pick at one point. Was
Jim Plunkett?
Yes. Carson Palmer was also. Alex Smith, of course, here locally has that same distinction. Vinny Testaverde Also a quarterback who got that number 1 overall pick. Keyshawn Johnson was the number 1 overall pick.
Yes, he was.
Now this one may have actually been now his pro career as a football player didn't necessarily the numbers aren't insane, but Bo Jackson was a number 1 overall pick. He was a Heisman Trophy winner. He was a baseball all-star. But again, that doesn't help you. Russ Maryland, he was number 1 overall. Oh, Jared Goff was number 1 overall.
That's right.
What's his name? Burrow was the number 1 overall.
Joe Burrow was, yes.
That's a really good question. So was Jason Garrett.
Yeah.
So not Jason Garrett, Myles Garrett. Jason Garrett was a redheaded Princeton backup quarterback. Sorry.
Big difference.
Get my Garretts mixed up.
Don't mix up that one. Don't make that mistake.
Let me see. What's the difference here? Hi, I'm Jason Garrett. Redheaded Princeton quarterback.
Who? I thought we got Myles Garrett.
I thought we got Myles Garrett. How dare you? All right. We got lots to go through still. Now, that's a fun list, though. Baker Mayfield was a number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
That worked out.
It's crazy, his circle.
Oh, Tim Couch.
Oh,
Tim Couch is the number 1 overall pick. All right. We'll take the break. We'll come back. We've got more to go. And when I say more to go, I mean 4 to 6 right here. We're going to keep you dialed in because we're going to have draft coverage and we're going to get you some draft predictions. We're going to get you some draft breakdowns. Sly going to join us next, so stay right here with us. Want to mention also, by the way, do you believe in karma? Log on to KSLSports.com. We'll help raise money for an awesome cause and some good vibes, obviously, going towards the Jazz. The KSL Sports 2-for-1. You donate $2 to Intermountain Primary Children's Hospital. It's all part of the pickup of the good karma, good vibes, whatever you want to call it, to be able to get that number 1 overall pick here to the state of Utah. So go to KSLSports.com/contest. No, just click on the main page there. You've got you can donate those $2. By the way, you can donate more if you want, but that's just me saying that. All right, stay with us. 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
Accessing.
When TV and radio collide.
Love it.
Wow. This is what you get. You're listening to JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars.
Don't touch that dial.
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone. Yes, this video game, 8-bit music, bringing you back here to the program today.
We have to ask Sly what team he would play.
Yeah, what team
Super
would you
Tecmo
pick
Bowl.
in Tecmo Bowl when you were a kid, man? Don't give me that look like you don't know what this game is. Come on.
No, all I remember is beating my cousin like 116 to 18 is the score. You got to play with Bo Jackson.
I tell you, the Raiders.
It's just what it was. Yeah. My cousin didn't know what was going on. So like, hey,
so he was the Patriots.
I'll be these guys. You
See, on the flip side, the worst teams were the Patriots
and the Colts.
The Colts were awful.
Yeah.
You were always like,
the Buccaneers.
Boy. And they had the creamsicle jerseys too, so you're like, oh boy.
Yeah, stay away from those.
Speaking of creamsicle jerseys, JJ's in the studio. If you want to go check it out on the stream, he's wearing the most obnoxious orange you could think of.
Oh, I love it. I came in and I saw that. I'm like, where is mine? And I'm like, I don't even have jerseys.
Why not? You played in the freaking NFL.
Right. But mine are in like a frame.
Oh, they're like all...
His actually matter.
Did you ever do the Did you ever do the jersey swap with people?
Not at the game. I did it in off season. Like me and Koa did it. And like,
oh, yeah.
So I got my teammates and, former Utah guys.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And you had to pay like $600 or something, right? Like something insane.
Like $500 for each jersey.
Yeah,
that's crazy. You'd have to pay for them.
Yeah, you would think, but like these guys don't care. Yeah. I wish I would have realized it sooner and just did it more, but I didn't.
Sly, first of all, welcome in, man. You come on the show quite often, but this is what we bring in for the bread and butter of the NFL draft. This is like one of your favorite things. It's one of our favorite times of the year. And obviously, you've been through the whole process, not just breaking these down, but you were also part of a draft yourself.
Say that again. Your favorite time of the year.
Is it really? Is it? It's got to be.
JJ, what's the best sports month of the year?
Oh boy.
Well,
I'm not gonna try to influence this.
You know what?
Yeah.
April's pretty darn good.
Yeah. That's what I said.
April is, because you've got the Masters, and then you go right into the NBA and Stanley Cup playoffs, and then you have the NFL
Which
draft.
we have no teams in currently, by the way.
That's going to change.
How on earth?
Imagine if the Jazz and the Utah Hockey Club were in the playoffs right now, and we had an NFL draft coming up.
You know what
with
we don't
8
do?
or 9 local kids that were going to get taken in the first 4 rounds of the draft.
Okay, first of all, you're doing sidelines at Utah during the seasons. you guys have a segment called Locals in the NFL. You don't have a Locals in the NBA. You don't have a Locals in the NHL.
Well, we don't have 40 guys in the NBA.
NFL season's in full swing, okay, during October. So's college football. So's the NHL kicking off. So, there's so many
things.
Series.
Don't forget the World Series.
The World freaking Series.
But the World Series is all you got. You're saying the beginning of a season is better than the playoffs?
It's not about whether or not – okay, so in the sense of college football is already number one for me. The NFL is right there. And so – those are not even like the beginnings of those seasons. October is your mid those seasons, right? You're like partway through the NFL season. You're October 18th when the rivalry game happens this year between BYU and Utah.
Which is dumb.
But it still makes for an awesome October, right? We love college football. So you guys being like, April's pretty fun. And then JJ has the guts.
I didn't say I didn't like October. I just said April is a very underrated sports month.
So what does JJ roll out to? The Masters is pretty fun.
I said
Come
sports
on.
month. I didn't say football
That's
month.
the thing you started
Why
with, and
are
I'm
you
the golf
downplaying
guy.
the Masters?
And I'm the golf guy, but I'm just saying that's what you roll out
watched
with.
one of the most incredible innings to a Masters we've ever seen.
Rory would slap you right now. That's so disrespectful.
And I love golf,
April's
but
an
I'm telling
incredible
you.
sports
But
month.
I'm sorry for derailing, but that was a topic.
It's okay.
We're already arguing about best sports month.
Listen.
How are we going to do a draft show without getting
We'll
after
do it
each
all.
other?
We'll get to it. Our program brought to you by G2G Bars, all natural ingredients and no preservatives. Make the G2G Bar the perfect protein bar. Let's get to the cut this hour. Let's get to our NFL draft coverage. Sly, nice enough to be in studio. How's Sly's camera look, by the way? Is he up on the old screen over here? We're having some technical difficulties. You know what I blame? JJ's jersey. It's just like blowing everything out.
Did I break a camera or something?
I think you did. All right.
Sorry about that.
We'll take a look here. Let's get to the cut, though. That's how we do. That's how we get things going at the top of every hour.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
And, of course, this portion of the cut every day brought to you by the good folks of Doug Smith and the Doug Smith Auto Group. They've got your Chevy, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Kia, Subaru, and, of course, now Mitsubishi in the family of Doug Smith vehicles. Nobody knows cars like Doug. All right. First up on our NFL draft stuff for the day, all right? First of all, Sly, when you look at a draft like this, I never know what to think because when you look at kind of an overarching picture, it's hard not to look at this year's draft and go, hey, the quarterback class is a little bit weak. Does that mean that the NFL draft this year, and we talk about the NBA draft, like last year's NBA draft was nothing to write home about. This year you've got a pretty strong class, but next year is looked at and widely regarded as a very strong NBA draft. Is there a version of that in the NFL, or is it like, nah, man, it's 7 rounds. You're going to get 240 guys drafted. You're always going to have a massive amount of talent in there. It's just about shuffling it around and making the right guesses as to where they should be going.
Well, I mean, honestly, JJ's heard me say this for years. Is everybody can benefit from being in the right situation, right? And so just because a guy gets drafted high and it doesn't work out, maybe he just didn't get into the right situation. I think that, one, we can't look at like, oh, a draft doesn't have that many guys. I mean, you got 32 teams that already have quarterbacks. So if we have 8 or 10 great quarterbacks in the draft, we're going to say that's a great quarterback. Where are they going? Yeah. Right? You got Kirk Cousins who are on a team. They draft Michael Penix. You have that issue every single time if you have so many quarterbacks every single year. So, I do think like this is a low year for quarterbacks, but it's a high year for running backs. We didn't have that many running backs last year. So it balances out in so many different ways year to year.
As you look at the breakdowns, and the quarterbacks are obviously they're the most scrutinized, right? I mean, we look at this by a long, long, long shot because it's one thing to show a bunch of B-roll of an offensive tackle making some pancake blocks. It's another to show Shedeur Sanders throwing touchdowns or interceptions. Like we've seen all that type. So speaking of Shedeur Sanders, this is a guy who has, according to a lot of people, at least in their heads, maybe made a little bit of a drop. I never know. I mean, it's like the stock market, man. It's like I don't know from day to day sometimes what makes the difference. But in Shedeur Sanders' case, why is it that at the end of the season and walking up even 3 or 4 weeks ago, he's so much more highly ranked or highly regarded or going to go higher in the draft? And then now you look at him and you have an NFL assistant saying it was the worst, most unprofessional interview we've ever had with a guy. He's not that good. On top of the fact that he is entitled and doesn't know how to read defenses, he has bad body language, all these things that this NFL assistant throw out there. When you see something like that and you go, okay, are we even being told the truth at this point? Like, when that NFL assistant is anonymous, he could be the same organization that ends up drafting the guy.
The problem with it is everything that was said, I agree with him, have been saying for the last couple of years. And so that to me is why I'm just like, that's not, just blasphemous.
Or like a sudden turn of events. Yeah.
Because right now, as you get closer to the draft and these guys have done their in-person meetings, you're getting to cipher through what is media hype, which Deion Sanders controls, and he can't control the in-person meetings. But he controls the media hype. What is media hype versus reality? And that's right now what you're getting to the nitty-gritty as you head into the draft and what you're seeing now. I agree wholeheartedly with that. Now, Shedeur, this is my opinion, and what I've seen the last 2 years of evaluating Shedeur is he has a strong arm. Dude can make throws. All the throws he can do. But the dude can't read defenses. He doesn't have great escapability. He's hard to bring down, just like Ben Roethlisberger. But you're talking about Myles Garrett, Abdul Carter. You got all these DNs across the league. They're going to not have an issue with Shedeur Sanders. He can't read defenses, so he holds on to the balls. That's why he gets those sacks, right? And there's just so much stuff he has to learn. He is not a top 10, honestly, top 20 pick for me. He's a late-round pick because of his arm talent. But there are so many things about the game that I think the kid needs to learn, and he needs to be behind somebody. So I hope he goes to the Steelers. Mike Tomlin and that organization can humble him, and I hope the Steelers also get Aaron Rodgers. I think that Shedeur and Aaron Rodgers
what a combo.
Has a kind of
what an insufferable combo,
it is,
Sly.
but at the same
That's
time,
a lot of ego in the same room.
you gotta manage it. And I think the Steelers are a team that can manage it. You got athletes right now with DK Metcalf, George Pickens, Freiermuth, Jaylen Warren back there. You need people to get that too. If Shedeur can learn how to be a professional from Aaron Rodgers, which, there's quotation marks around professional with Aaron Rodgers.
At this point, yeah.
As far as the game, Aaron Rodgers knows the game.
Yeah, Mike Tomlin, that's a guy that he doesn't care who you are. Even if you are Aaron Rodgers, even if you are Shedeur Sanders, like, he doesn't bend, his will doesn't bend to those guys.
And you've seen they've gotten rid of talented guys. You got a problem with Santonio Holmes? You're out of here. Plaxico Burress? You're out of here. Antonio Brown? You're out of here. Right? Who's the other guy that was outstanding they got out of there? Especially receivers. I'm just labeling these receivers.
Yeah.
But the Steelers don't have a problem with that. And that's the culture that they have around there. NFL is not like college. And Shedeur Sanders, you got to understand, it's not my daddy's team right now, so it's not going to be that way. So you're going to have to humble yourself or get out.
Go ahead, yeah.
Is Cam Ward the best player in this draft?
No, the draft.
Or are the Titans taking him because he's the best quarterback available?
Well, you're not doing anything with Will Levis. So I think the Titans should take him. I think Cam Ward is definitely the best quarterback. Jackson Dart, to me, is the second best quarterback. Cam Ward is extremely talented, and I think that he's a guy that you can build a team around.
Do you look at Travis Hunter as being like a generational, not just because of the two-way part, but because of the crazy athleticism? If that's the case, like if he is the quote-unquote best player available in the draft, isn't that what every GM is supposed to take? Even if your need is quarterback, even if you are the lowly Titans, if they took Travis Hunter, that I wouldn't ding that at all, because the guy is supposed to be this generational freak athlete that we've never seen before, and he can play both ways. Why is it just set in stone that they're going to take a quarterback, even though I know you're not going to get anywhere with Will Levis, but you know what you can do is you don't have to be anywhere next year either.
You don't.
So why not take the best overall player in this draft, which is Travis Hunter?
Well, what is the best, most fundamental position to build around? It's the quarterback.
Yeah.
And if you got a guy like Cam Ward who you can build a franchise around, there's going to be talented receivers. There's going to be talented DBs in the draft. There's going to be talented O-linemen later. But are there going to be quarterbacks that you can build around? Are there going to be Patrick Mahomes that you can build around? Travis Hunter is great. I've seen him in person. Dude is talented beyond measure. He's not a Steph Curry generational type of talent. So for me, I'm still taking my quarterback. If I have a quarterback, then I'm going straight for Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter. Those two are game-changing players.
Well, it's a funny thing you say that. Abdul Carter is probably the best player in this draft.
Yes.
And we're 19 minutes in. That's the first time we've mentioned him.
Well,
but the Giants are going to get him at 3. He's probably the best. He's the player with the most Hall of Fame.
Unless somebody trades up.
He's the player with the most Hall of Fame, All-Pro potential in this draft.
Automatically. From day one. I agree with that.
And he's going to go 3rd?
Hey.
Interesting.
Yeah, and you know, this is the thing, is a lot of teams will really surprise you with, what the heck are you thinking? That's why fans, you got all these bloopers of fans like, no, why did you do that? And then it turns out working, you know, because they do that for a living. But again, that is all about situational fit. Patrick Mahomes with Andy Reid is a match made in heaven. Right? Yeah. There's so many things that are like that. I don't think Brock Purdy does what he does outside of a Kyle Shanahan system. Right, and so I think that it's all situational fit. Whatever team's good, and I've said this multiple times. It doesn't matter where you're drafted, or what round you're drafted.
Yeah,
it matters
the situation.
Where you go. Yeah.
So you have right now 15 quarterbacks that are on the that have their name is in the hopper, right?
The hopper,
and you know their names mostly. But then there are guys even like, by the way, like Graham Mertz, who started his career at Wisconsin, I think, and ended up at Florida. Riley Leonard started at Duke, ended up at Notre Dame. Jalen Milrose at Alabama, he's rated as the 14th out of 15 quarterbacks, by the way, in this draft class. Quinn Ewers is ranked 15th out of the 15 quarterbacks. Why is it that a guy like Quinn Ewers doesn't translate necessarily from being a pretty solid college quarterback? Is it his size? What is it about Quinn Ewers that makes him not a very good quarterback, do you think? Not a lot of people want to take him. No one's wanted to take a shot on this guy. He could go undrafted come this weekend.
And that's crazy to me, right? The need at quarterback from so many teams and these garbage backup quarterbacks that are across the league. You still got, Mason Rudolph, bless his heart. He doesn't.
Bless his heart.
He gotta bless his heart.
He just doesn't get it done for you, right?
Yeah.
On a consistent basis. And you got guys with talent who can throw the ball. Quinn Ewers, I have no idea what the behind-the-scenes talk are about guys like this, right? Yeah. And big-time situations. Guys want to see, and for me, with Quinn Ewers, when the big-time happened, where was he? I didn't see him make big-time plays in big-time games.
Right. Outside of that Arizona State game, I got to give him credit for that. In overtime, he stepped up and made a massive throw. But your point, do you think elite when you watching Quinn Ewers? The whole time we're thinking, when are they going to put Arch in?
Yes.
That's bad.
That's bad, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that's what's going on behind the scenes with Quinn. But there's tons of guys. And honestly, Jalen Milroe is one of those situations like, where's he going to fit? Does he actually have a strong arm? Or can he just run?
And I'll say this right now. If Jalen Milroe goes to the right team, he could end up being the best quarterback in this class, a Jalen Hurts type.
But it's got to be the right situation.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Everybody just can't take him. I think that Mike McDaniels down in Miami could do something great with Jalen Milroe.
Yeah. It's a great spot.
But can he learn that system? McDaniels' system is a little difficult.
Other quarterbacks on this list that also, I think that people look and they go, all right, this is an interesting group here. Where is Jackson Dart on your list? I know you just said you thought he was the second best. But in this draft, like there are a lot of teams that aren't even sniffing a quarterback or even interested in taking a shot at even Shedeur Sanders or Jackson Dart, maybe even until the second round.
Right.
The only quarterback that may be taken in the first round could be Cam Ward, the number 1 overall pick. And then after that, you don't hear a quarterback's name mentioned until the second round. What type of potential does Jackson Dart have as a guy who we, of course, watched play all through high school here and then go to USC and then over to Ole Miss where he set all those records?
Well, I mean, for Jackson Dart's situation, you have no idea who's interested in you. Just like me, I had no idea the Steelers even was interested in me.
Did you interview with them?
No. I filled out one of those kiosks in the mall things for the Steelers where it's like, put your name here. Oh, this... I thought I was doing some kind of raffle.
But other teams.
Well, you
won,
Sly.
Right.
Congratulations.
Okay, so so who are the teams that you were looking at? And they're like, they've been talking to me so much. I guarantee they're going to draft me.
Nobody was talking to me. I was going out of my mind.
Nah.
I was freaking out.
So this time of year brings you a lot of angst.
Oh yeah, you have no idea. I am so sick at the first couple of rounds of this draft of seeing guys that I was just like, I know I'm better than that guy. Anyway.
Oh boy.
But it's so frantic, and that's why I was just like, look, whatever's gonna happen. Don't try to game play it or understand why somebody did something. These guys have it in their heads. They make dumb decisions. Sometimes they make good decisions. You just never know. And Jackson Dart situation, there's a lot of teams that I feel like need quarterbacks. Right, even guys that have older quarterbacks that are phasing out. You need didn't Miami should have invested in a quarterback a couple years ago? And had somebody in their system ready to go for this, right? There's teams like that who's like, look, I'm looking for valuable backups. I need to make sure that I establish my future. Injuries happen like crazy. And so I think there's definitely a lot of teams here that could use a Jackson Dart in their system, whether it's going to be this year or in the years to come. So, and what we've seen over the last couple of years is massive trades. I feel like they've been breaking records with trades that's been happening every single year.
Teams trading into the first to go get
into
that
the first round, right? Like that's what they had to do with Dalton Kincaid for the Buffalo Bills. They traded back into the first round to get Dalton Kincaid. So, that could happen here in this draft. So I think that Jackson Dart's a first-round talent just because of, one, his poise and how he's able to do it. The kid loves football, and that's what you want on your football team. So I think he's going to be a first-round guy. If he slips, it doesn't matter. Honestly, when you slip in the draft, that's oftentimes a good thing because the better teams are later in the draft.
Let me mention 4 teams in the first round that really need quarterbacks. I only think 2 of them are really going to seriously consider it, though. I think the Browns and the Giants are in serious need of quarterbacks. The Saints at number 9, which could be the first spot for Jackson, that I think that they'll look at.
They got Derek Carr and Spencer Rattler on that list.
Broken shoulder, and Spencer Rattler's so good. And the Steelers at number 21, to Sly's point with Shedeur Sanders, that makes a lot of sense. Saints at 9, Steelers at 21. Those are the 2 teams after the Titans take Cam Ward that I think where a quarterback could land, because the Browns and Giants obviously are not going to take a quarterback that early with the players they have on the board there. After that, unless, like Sly is saying, if a team trades in the first round, a guy like Jackson Dart or Shedeur Sanders, if they get passed by the Saints or Steelers, they're not going to go until day 2.
Which is not a bad thing.
Right.
Yeah,
it's bad for their egos.
Well, I was going to say,
can you imagine what Dion's going to say about Shedeur going in the second round?
3 minutes ago, you mentioned how much of a wreck you were on draft day and how, because you were a 5th round guy,
correct?
And you go to the Steelers, like in my mind, that sounds perfect. I mean,
right? No, it was. I didn't expect them to.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. This whole process sounds like it'd be terrifying and a ton of fun all at the same time.
For who?
Well, the idea that you do get a call, because then once you do get on the horn and you're talking to the coach on the phone, was it the coach who called you? Was it the GM who called you? Or how'd they do it?
Mike Tomlin was the first person I talked to.
Look at that.
That's awesome.
I mean, imagine sitting there, yes, coach, and doing the whole thing and be like, and
you sound just like me.
Yes, coach. Yes, coach. That's my Sly voice. Hey, yes, coach. When it was Tomlin, we were all saying that, by the way. Yes, sir, coach.
That's how I would talk if he was talking to me.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
How did your family react? The phone rings. Were they anywhere near you, or were you like, get away from me?
I mean, I was at Bible study the night before, really in Vegas. Just, it took the whole night. I was really tired. So in the morning, I was actually asleep because I was so pissed off. I'm just like, let me just sleep through this. So they're just going. My mom's got her old notebook out studying whose linebacker's been taken off. I have the phone on my chest and I'm sleeping. The phone rings and I look at it and I don't know the number. 412. I'm like, I've never heard it's spam, whatever. I was about to click it. I'm like, oh crap, it's draft day.
You forgot.
I forgot it was draft day. But the reason why I didn't, because I felt everybody in the room just looking at me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh crap, it's draft. So I pick up the phone. Next thing you know, hey, what's going on, Sly? And I'm just like, all right. I didn't know it was the Pittsburgh Steelers until somebody said something about the Steelers, or I didn't even recognize Mike Tomlin's voice at first.
Why would you? Why would you? I mean, like, there's so many things in your head, especially if you're not thinking to yourself.
The Steelers
that
are drafting. They
anybody's
got
gonna call
12 or
me.
13 linebackers
Right.
already on the roster. Why would they draft me?
See,
they
I always
took
love-
2 linebackers already.
Sly at that point, like, he did all the detailed draft work even back then. Where he's like,
I was in
they
it.
have 12 linebackers. They don't need me.
They don't need me. They drafted
Plus,
2
they just
already.
drafted 2 other ones.
Take this team completely off the board.
Did any of those 2 not make the draft or not make the initial roster, by the way?
No, they did because
all
of
did.
the money. When you, that's the thing. Like your first 3-round guys are kind
They're-
of guaranteed to
You
be on the
got
roster.
you got to commit to them a little bit.
But
Yeah,
I was better than all of them. I played better than all of them. I was the only one that was on the active roster on the 45 travel out of those guys, and I was a 5th-round guy.
Wow.
And then Antonio Brown was drafted after me.
Wow.
That all-pro Hall of Fame guy drafted after me. He's crazy.
Hall of Fame? Do you think you're going to let him in the Hall of Fame?
Are you serious? He better.
I don't
I'm
know,
serious.
man.
He might not be allowed.
His antics,
He might get in,
A lot of the
but
stuff,
he might not be
a lot of the
allowed to
stuff
be
that's
there.
gone
They'll
on.
say they'll put his name there. I don't know if they'll.
It's his bust will be the only one
Yeah.
with him shirtless. He'll go.
Steve Smith Sr.'s not in the Hall of Fame yet. That just tells you how hard it is
Yeah,
for a
it is.
receiver to
Oh
get
yeah,
in.
but I mean, check the numbers. Dude's out there.
He was a phenomenal receiver.
All right,
no doubt about it.
we'll take a quick break. We've got tons going on here. Sly's going to be with us all the way up through the 6 o'clock hour to get us ready for this NFL draft. Speaking of NFL drafts, how awesome is it that the running back is back, or are they? It's a deep running back class, and certainly some teams are trying to change the entire trajectory of their franchise with a couple of big names who are there at running back. Will it happen? Is the running back back? Stay with us, 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
Ladies and gentlemen, the biggest name.
You're locked into JJ and Alex. With the insight and analysis on the teams you can't live without. Presented by G2G Bars. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Alex, Kirry, Jeremiah, Jensen, Sly Sylvester sitting in studio here with us. You can catch us streaming live, KSLSports.com. You can go to the KSL Sports YouTube page and stream us right there. We have the debut of the third camera.
Camera 3 is now operational.
And look, Sly's testing it out beautifully.
Happy to be again.
Sunglasses in studio, no problem. Get me on that third camera.
Wear my sunglasses.
We're in like the darkest studio, by the way, too. We could still turn on one of those extra lights over there, and it would make it almost believable why you need to be wearing those sunglasses. But Sly, nice enough to give us some of his draft coverage as usual. You can nominate the Youth Sports Volunteer that you know for the Hercules Hero of the Week award. Tomorrow, we're going to be rolling out our weekly winner. And the way that we do that is we take your nominations at KSLSports.com/contest. And those nominations are for the people who do an extra awesome job with the youth sports in your neighborhood. You know who those people are. As we speak, my kids are going to be getting ready for a baseball game that I can't even be at. So I have to rely on other parents volunteering, doing an awesome job. And we need parents like that who just help our kids get through all of those youth sports. You can go to KSLSports.com/contest, nominate that winner, and then we read those winners off every week. And then they get a prize from Hercules First Federal Credit Union and Beehive Meals, who bring you the program. So there you go. Let me ask you this. We'll get to some defense talk in a second, but is the running back position back, or is it just like a year-to-year situation? Because I would suspect that the pay would still be kind of heading the wrong direction for the running back, but we haven't seen names like I haven't seen a name thrown around as being an impact running back like Jeanty. The last guy I saw, the name was thrown around like this. It was that you were like, oh, he's going to make a difference. Crazily enough, it was Ezekiel Elliott. Remember when he came out, everyone was like,
Saquon, obviously. There was a lot of hype with
tons of
Saquon
hype,
coming
but
in.
I think a lot of people looking at it and they go, oh, man, they're going to make a difference. And I will say, running backs in their rookie years, they can make a big impact immediately. Sometimes they fall off like even the second year.
Probably
but
more so than any other position.
It's crazy. They can come in and they can make an immediate impact. What are guys like Jeanty and Omarion Hampton going to bring to a team? Because that's kind of your 1A, 1B. Obviously, Jeanty had the advantage of being one of the best running backs that we've ever seen in the college level. But what is the current state of the running back position in the draft here?
Well, I think it's because you go from being pass heavy right, to like I need a change up, right? Like all these teams now have two-headed monsters at on their rosters, right? I can't just have one dominant guy. I got to have two, right? If you're the Baltimore Ravens, my other running back is my quarterback, right? So Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. But I think everybody's getting into this two-headed monster type of running teams, and the lifespan of a running back is 4 years, 4 or 5 years, I think, is what you're going to get out of a running back. So drafting them early, you got to have that aspirations behind it. But like honestly, the teams that draft a running back need to be like, I need to be able to utilize his talents to get me to conference championship or the Super Bowl, to get me to those games and have my quarterback win it all within the first 4 years of their career. But I think Jeanty is that type of guy with a good, solid O-line. He has great vision, great patience, and a great low center of gravity that I think that he'll be able to drive through defenders, right? And so he's just game-changing in what he's able to do, as you said, setting all kinds of records. These past year, he had a lot of media attention, and I think that he's a humble guy that I think organization would love to have.
We saw a lot of players in the Big 12. Running backs were actually really, really good. And the Big 12 has, let me look right here. I don't know the exact number here. Well, let me see. They've got UCF's R.J. Harvey's actually the highest ranked.
I like all the guys. Seeing him in person, I like him a lot.
He's really good.
If you get him in the 3rd or 4th round, he can be your starter day one, and he will have a huge impact.
So he's the 7th ranked running back in the entire draft. Then you're going to get to Cam Scadaboo. Whatever comes with Cam and all that, whether or not his game translates.
Get him to Tampa Bay. I want to see a reincarnation of Mike Allstott.
Mike Allstott.
Let's go.
See, but here's the thing: is like Cam Scadaboo. I just don't know. We said that guy wasn't going to be much at the collegiate level. I just don't know if I want that guy on my team. You know what I mean? We were talking about this yesterday. It was like I showed our producer Alex the picture of him after he got the helmet ripped off during where were they? The Cotton Bowl. He gets his helmet ripped off and a PI and the same thing, and they're driving on Texas, and he stands up and does like that mean mug. You know what I'm talking about? You can picture it. Yeah. And I was like, I don't want that guy on my team. Like he just looks like
I think you're the only person I've ever heard say that.
Oh my. I don't want this. Listen, if it was between R.J. Harvey and Cam Scadaboo, I'm taking R.J. Harvey.
Yeah.
DJ Giddens from Kansas State right behind him. Mm-hmm. Taj Brooks was really, really a nice running back at Texas Tech. Very, very good. Ollie Gordon, we forget about that guy.
He was Doak Walker winner.
He won the
Something
Doak Walker
was off
Award.
with him last year.
Yeah.
And that one of the reasons why Oklahoma State was the worst team in the Big 12 was because of his fall.
But they weren't giving him the ball either.
The offensive line was terrible.
Of course, what game did he have a good game? BYU.
Right.
He comes back, has a good game against
200
BYU.
yards against BYU.
It was like 140 in the first half. But he was a guy who was, if he would have come out, obviously last year, which it wasn't going to be the case because he was a sophomore when he won the Doak Walker Award. But yeah, that's a guy who falls big time. But he's a big body. He's 6'2", 226. Mm-hmm. That's massive. That's a massive running back. That's your Derrick Henry type size of a dude.
I think there's going to be a scout out there or somebody that's just going to be like, we've got to get Scadaboo. We've got to have him.
Corey Kiner out of Cincinnati was the last one in the Big 12. So you have 6 Big 12 running backs on the board of the 21 that are listed on here. And look, it would be an interesting day for a guy like Ashton Jeanty, who people are like, there might be. Oh, who was it that I was talking to yesterday? I was listening to yesterday. They go, hey, watch out because the Giants actually might look and go, we want to steal Ashton Jeanty at that 5th
spot.
Or
maybe somebody wants to come up and get Carter, and they're like, well, the guy we really want is Jeanty. And
right.
Maybe they work out some
sure,
kind of
we'll take trade him, and then we'll get him at 11 or whatever.
There's so many good running backs. If somebody's willing to trade you so they can get one, do it.
Yeah.
Because you could get freaking Travion Henderson, which I loved. He didn't even do that. We're not going to say that. They were a two-headed monster at Ohio State.
Yeah, they were.
Quishon Junkins, because he came out of nowhere, and he was awesome as well. So you take any of those guys, and then you got Scadaboo, and then you got Devin Neal and Jordan James, and even guys that slipped all the way down. Who's the guy that was? Oh, from Michigan. Donovan Edwards.
Yeah.
Khalil Mullings, right? Is it the?
I'm thinking of Donovan Edwards.
Donovan Edwards.
Yeah, what happened to him?
Well, that's crazy because you think about him as being like a last year guy, right?
But
because
all these guys, Ollie Gordon last year, they're just big name guys. Just running back class is deep, and I think that whoever you get and what round, you're going to get a solid running back that's going to help you. So
Donovan Edwards is ranked by ESPN as the 29th best running back in the draft.
Right.
29th. National champion.
When he was the national champion, by the way.
Yeah, his teammate is ranked
it's
seventh.
amazing
and he
what 1 year can
personally
do to
ran
you,
over
too.
Alabama in
Yeah.
the Rose Bowl. I mean, that was the thing, is that was his game, right? That was
He
when
should have
we're
come out
against-
last year, to be honest.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
And he had that insane game against Ohio State, obviously, and so man, timing is everything, right? Because then
is.
you're
Timing
Ollie
and situation.
Ollie Gordon goes, "I'm coming back," gets a DUI, has a terrible year,
Yeah.
and their team goes
He might go undrafted.
2-9 or 2-11 or whatever it was, or 3-10 for the
it
for the
has-
season.
He's the
It's crazy.
22nd
year.
ranked running back in this draft.
bonkers.
He was a
Awful
Doak
year.
Walker Award winner 2 years ago.
But Ashton Jeanty, to me, I look at and I go, there might be something else a little bit. Now, Christian McCaffrey comes out of college. We knew that he was going to be this dual threat guy, but not to the extent I think that he has been, where we go, oh, that guy is by himself, 2 guys on your roster.
Right.
That's why they're so important, right? They're making those
his
catches out of the back.
value, yeah.
Huge. Omarion Hampton is more of that traditional back, I think, that has
Corey Dillon.
He's big.
Yeah.
But he's faster than everybody out there.
6 feet, 221.
Oh man, that's a big dude. I love that you made the Corey Dillon.
He looks just like him when I watch
connection.
the film, man.
He's and by the way, barrels, but also like he'll jump over. He jumps over lines like 9 feet. The dude's an insane athlete.
Yeah.
And I just think this is really. I love
Ashton
watching.
Jeanty might be LaDainian Tomlinson.
Yeah, you know what's funny is you can
like
be you
that.
can be
I like that
5 you
comp.
can be 5'9" in this league.
But as I
and
say, he
make
has a
it,
great
man.
low sort of gravity
Yeah.
and a great burst.
Yeah.
And that's LaDainian Tomlinson right there.
What
So
they
I
what they
like
list
that.
Scadaboo as height wise? Oh yeah, 5'9", 5'9", 220.
Bro, that's all-star, bro. Just busting through lines right there. Not
Get him a
giving
neck
damn.
roll, and then I'll start to think about it.
Right?
Make him number
I'm
40,
telling you,
and I'll start thinking about
him
it.
and Baker Mayfield in Tampa Bay right now. I like that connection. Just
Oh,
two guys, just,
two total.
two bags.
They're
I know that's what you're
knuckleheads.
thinking. Two bags
Yeah.
in Tampa Bay colors
Two guys
on
who
top of the
don't-
pirate ship.
Two guys that your coach has to say you guys can never hang out together ever.
Oh, my gosh.
You can never be around each other at the same time.
That'd be
ever
great.
off the field.
That'd be great.
All right.
A couple of DBs in the DB room.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We got more to break down. Sly's going to join us the rest of the show here. By the way, we do have a defensive conversation coming up in just a little while, but I've got a little NFL draft game I'm going to have you guys play with me. Okay, Sly, you're going to be you're
this
being
fun?
thrown.
We love games.
You're
Is
being
this
thrown.
Saw?
You're being thrown into
Wanna
this
play a game?
unwittingly. Yeah, and,
Not that game.
JJ doesn't know how this one's going to go. Only Alex
No
and I
idea
are
what's
familiar
coming.
with how this one's
No
going to go.
idea.
So, all right, stick around. More to go. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Accessing.
When TV and radio collide,
Love it.
this is what you get. You're listening to JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars.
Don't touch that dial.
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. It's a Win Ticket Wednesday. You know what that means? We're giving away tickets right now. All you have to do to qualify is to be caller number 12. 801-575-ZONE. That's 801-575-9663. You get a pair of tickets to see Daughtry coming up on May 1st. That's next week, I think. Yeah, next Thursday at the Complex. Get tickets now, livenation.com, or give us a call, and we will give you those pair of tickets at 801-575-ZONE if you're calling number 12. All right. Ooh, we got a little fun little game to get to here. You ready for this? Now, neither of you are aware of this, but and you can't cheat. Don't try to cheat. All right? So here's what we're going to do. I've got the timer, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you we're going to have exactly 60 seconds. We might extend it if it gets really embarrassing, but we're going to go 60 seconds, and you can tell us if you can start to sing off. This is going to be our top 10 here. I want you guys. I've got 10 of them in front of me.
You're telling me to sing?
No, I'm not going to tell you to sing.
I want to know these rules because I want to know how to cheat first.
No, well, You'd be
That's a true competitor,
You'd be
right?
Sam.
You're not cheating. You're not trying.
You'd be
That's
Sam
right.
Farnsworth. You do a little Googling while we're doing the thing. Don't do it. All right. So this is a top 10. I'm going to give you the top 10, or you guys have to give me the top 10. I'll give you a minute. We'll have the timer going. You have to give me the top 10 most Hall of Famers from each school. Who has the most Hall of Famers? I've got the top 10 in front of me. NFL Hall of Famers from each different school.
So we have to tell the
gotta give me the
players
you
or
gotta-
just the
no,
school?
no, just the top 10 schools
Oh,
who have
okay.
the most NFL Hall of Famers.
And you're going to tell us if we're good or not?
Yes, I will give you, and then by the end, I'll tell you. Yeah, I'll tell you if it's right or wrong. All right, Alex, our producer, let's hit the old timer here. Let's get this thing going officially now. Schools are the most Hall of Famers.
Notre Dame,
Ding,
USC,
ding,
Michigan,
ding,
Miami,
ding,
Ohio State,
Alabama,
ding. Hold on, Alabama. You said ding.
Michigan.
Already said Michigan.
Oh, did you? Mm-hmm. Oklahoma. Oklahoma State.
Tennessee.
Stanford. No.
Tennessee.
Georgia, Florida, Florida State,
Oh,
Penn State,
Oh, yeah, Penn State.
hold on. Let me look here.
Wisconsin.
Whoa. What's going on here?
We're at 6.
Yeah.
We're
gosh.
sticking at 6 right now.
Oh boy,
People are yelling at the radios right now at you guys.
Auburn, Texas. What?
I know.
Texas A&M,
That's time. You guys got to 6 in like 5 seconds.
and then fell off the cliff. What
You
happened?
ready for this last 4?
Oh no! Give me the 4.
Pitt.
I was going to say Pitt, but I was just like, no way.
You're like, no way.
Who the heck went to Pitt?
Pitt is actually tied for
I know Dan Marino.
Yeah, Pitt is actually tied for 3rd.
Tony Dorsett.
Yeah. Pitt is tied for 3rd with 10.
Oh, my
with
gosh.
Ohio State. I know.
BYU's got as many as Pitt. What are you talking about?
BYU's got 1.
Steve Young.
Utah State's got 1.
Merlin Olsen.
Utah's got,
2.
do you know who they are?
Larry Wilson.
Still,
Larry Wilson.
Larry Wilson. That's what's...
And
The second one's very tough because it's not, he's on the all 40s decade team.
oh gosh,
Max Speedy.
that's Max Speedy. That's right.
You got it. Okay, so Pittsburgh is the shock
I
tie
couldn't
at
believe
number
that.
4.
Now that I
I
think
was
about
going to
it,
say
you're
Pitt,
right.
and I'm just
Yeah.
like, no.
So Notre Dame and USC tied at 14. Michigan 11. Ohio State and Pitt both 10. Miami you guys got. Alabama you got. The last 3 you weren't going to get, and I don't blame you. Syracuse has the same amount of Hall of Famers as Alabama
Are you kidding
at
me?
8.
Syracuse?
I never would have thought.
I was
know.
thinking, like, what was the Northeast? I was
Well,
going to say UConn. I'm like, no way.
Get ready to really be like, whatever.
And then it's
The
not even
last 2.
Donovan McNabb's not even
I
one of the
know.
Syracuse Hall of Famers.
The last 2,
Maryland?
Minnesota
What?
and Illinois.
I can't.
Those are your
What
that's
player
7
for
and 6.
Minnesota is in the Hall of Fame?
I'll
We should
tell
have
you.
just started labeling teams in the conferences.
I know.
I was trying to
You're
actually
like, give
think.
me the 21st century
I was
only.
going to go Hoosiers. I was like, no, it's
I
not
can't
basketball.
even think of a Hall
Yeah.
of Famer that went to Minnesota.
Tony Dungy.
As a
Okay.
player?
Bronco Nagurski is also a Charlie Sanders. Bobby Bell. Okay, who else did we say? So Illinois was the other one that Illinois was right there with him too.
Who from
Butkus,
Illinois? Okay.
George Hallis,
Dick
Okay,
Butkus
George
went-
Hallis.
Ray Nitschke.
Okay.
Right, so those are some names that you absolutely know.
Okay.
Ray Nitschke.
Who did we also question about? Okay, we were talking about Pitt. Pitt was one that confused me
10.
because I wanted to
Pitt
know.
with 10 blows my mind.
Pitt with 10.
I could get Dan Marino and Tony Dorsett. I
I
can't
know
go any
after
further than
that, I don't know. Hold on, let me
Did
get
Matt
down there.
Millen go to Pitt? No, he's a Penn State guy.
Yeah,
We
hold
said
on,
Penn
where
State.
did Pitt go? Okay, so Pitt, Jimbo Covert,
Okay.
Mike Ditka.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
That's
There you go.
Yeah. Okay.
Chris Dolman, Tony Dorsett.
Chris Dolman went to
Yes. Russ Grimm,
Pitt. Russ Grimm.
Ricky
okay.
Jackson, Dan Marino, Curtis Martin
Curtis
was a
Martin
Pitt
went
guy.
to Pitt.
Darrell Revis is also a Pitt
That's right.
Panther.
And I know this from Pittsburgh. I was
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like,
yeah.
no.
Yep.
But
Yep,
there's
yep,
so many names on the wall.
That's
next to it.
crazy. I never
And
would have
I know.
guessed Pitt.
I don't know
I
why I
thought
didn't
so,
just
too.
say it. God,
10
You
guys
guys-
from Pitt.
Listen, you guys mowed through. You guys got to 6, and I was nervous because I was like, "We're gonna be done with this in 20 seconds." But then I saw Illinois and Minnesota, and I went, "Okay, no, we're
I
gonna
should
be
have
fine."
just started labeling things. But I was actually trying to think. I was like, who's in the Northeast that was
yeah,
actually.
yeah.
Oh,
Oh, good
Turned
game.
out it was the Midwest.
Hey,
How about that?
good game, everybody. All right, so far the record is 6 out of 10. So that's the very first top 10 game we've played.
All right.
And they're
I like the top 10 game.
They're 6 out of 10. All right, we'll take the break. We've got more to go. NFL draft coverage all next hour. Sly's going to break down the best defensive guys who are available in the draft, and also whether or not if defense does actually win championships. Because I don't know about that.
I mean, you just saw the Eagles shut down Patrick Mahomes. I don't know why you were worried about that.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. More to go. 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone.
Your home for the best coverage of the Jazz, Utes, and Cougars is right here on The Zone. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Alex Kirry, Jeremiah Jensen, Sly Sylvester, longtime contributor to the program, and, of course, this is his time of the year. It's the NFL Draft. Ooh, Ted McMillan had a lot of people talking about being the next guy. What was the one that I saw him?
Might be the first receiver taken.
That I've seen that he's going to be, and the one that I saw, who's got the 4th overall pick? They were like, watch him go 4th. Even though
Patriots.
The Pats?
Patriots. Patriots are 4th.
They talked about the Patriots maybe taking him 4th. They talked about the Jags maybe taking him. What number are they?
5th.
5th?
Yep.
So
look at the Raiders.
Raiders
at 6.
need
That'd
a
be perfect
receiver.
for Ted.
Raiders need a receiver.
what number are they? 6?
They are 6.
So here's the thing about the reason that Ted McMillan was brought up as being a big time, like, hey, get this guy here. You have Liam Cohen, who just was brought into the Jaguars to basically fix Duval. He was brought in to fix Trevor Lawrence's ills, right? He's supposed to be the quarterback whisperer, and they're like, because initially they were like, well, you got to give him because they need to build up their offensive line too. They need a guard, and so Michigan's guard, who's widely regarded as the number 1 overall guard, is supposed to go to them. But if you're Liam Cohen and you go, Ted McMillan's available, man, we could give this guy a weapon. That'd be tempting not to, right? Like, but
that's
again,
what Trevor Lawrence needs is a guy like
give
that.
give him a flashy dude who could make plays, and man,
I think he's a better versions of what's his name from Tampa Bay?
Mike Evans.
Mike Evans.
Yeah, I know. I agree. That's a good comp, and there were just times it wasn't consistent enough though. There's enough concern. Like, does he take plays off? There was a game, I think it was against Texas Tech, where he had a bad fumble at the end.
Yeah.
But where there was the games where that New Mexico game where he gets like, what was it, like
300 yards.
Just insane stats. It was like, nobody can guard this guy. He's like an unstoppable force.
Right.
You don't see those guys very often available, and I'm curious to see how he translates to the NFL level, because I think with so much attention on him in college, it made it more difficult. But if he's just another guy on an NFL roster, maybe like a Puka Nacua effect, I think he could have similar impact in the league.
Well, welcome to the program, by the way. We're brought to you by G2G Bars. See, we just got right into it. What on earth is this gal on ESPN wearing with the what's Rutledge wearing? Is this she's wearing a full-on ruby jumpsuit. Ruby sequined jumpsuit. All right.
This is peak ADHD.
Oh, listen, I'm just telling you, I know. Like, we're streaming on TV. I'm just wondering why our bosses aren't saying, hey, why don't you guys get a little bit loose? Although this is pretty loose, though, with JJ with the Orange Crush jersey on today.
I wore proper attire today.
I should have gone.
As opposed to a suit that I have to wear every day.
I don't think they like the Kim Mulkey look on what they do over there. So.
With the flashy. You know what? That's going to be my next move. I'm going to get a pink boa. I'm going to put it on in the studio. Bring some eyeballs to the program.
Stitch it on the lapel.
All right.
You need more sequins.
Let's kick off the hour officially with the cut. We'll jump in right here and let's talk defense in the NFL draft this season. Let's jump right to it.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
And this portion of the show brought to you by Trajan Wealth, TRAJANwealth.com for all of your trusted local needs in retirement. Trajan Wealth. All right, let's talk about the defensive linemen and the possibility of guys who could be the next up. Mason Graham is the big guy out of Michigan, the junior defensive lineman that everybody thinks might be going pretty early. Some of them having them going as early as number 4 or 5. 5 to possibly the Jags. You've also got the guys who start to really speak to you when interior defensive linemen. They're so underrated, and I don't know. You don't get guys like Aaron Donald like ever, because the big sexy pull on the defensive line now is the edge rusher, right? And so everybody wants to know who that edge rusher is going to be. So if it's the edge guy, and we don't have I don't know, do we have a definitive defensive end this year or an edge rusher? Abdul Carter's the number, he's the best, the best. And then
he's
after
the
that,
best player in the draft.
Massive fall off, because then Marshall's got this Mike Green cat. I think Mike Green was the guy who led the entire country in sacks. After that, I'm not sure, but you tell me, Sly, when it comes to a defense and when it comes to building your defense, is the new offensive tackle the new edge rusher, or what are we talking about here when we start talking about building a defense?
Yeah, I mean, you look at it and getting after the quarterbacks, right? The quarterbacks are the highest paid guys, the guys who make the most notoriety, and if you can make them look like crap, your team is doing good, right? The best coverage on the back end is a good pass rush, right? And so knocking out the quarterback up front with your guys, and that's why Will Anderson just did so many things for the Texans a couple years ago, man. And he's outstanding, and that's what I see from the Georgia linebacker Jalen Walker, right? He does inside and outside. They got him as an inside guy, but I think that guy can rotate to outside linebacker, play DN on loose downs, and get after the quarterback because of his elite speed. And man, if the Philadelphia Eagles get another Georgia Bulldog, I'm gonna flip, right? But there's a lot of tweener guys like that can play multiple positions that are really athletic that we're not looking at as edge guys, but can rotate down and do that. And I think that that's huge. But yeah, I think the defensive end position, you got the Myles Garretts, all these guys across the league that are doing Joey Bosa's and Nick Bosa's that are doing things on the edge. Those are the positions that you want, right? It starts up front. Everybody's said that throughout the years in your defensive lines and your offensive line positions. That's why the offensive lines tackles get paid so much. The blind side, whatever. The edge rushers, that's who they're protecting against. The Lawrence Taylors, the Bruce Smiths, the Reggie Whites. Those are the guys that you really want to build your defense around. They'll set the tone for your defense. Any good defense has great defensive ends.
Let's bring up our one of our first local guys here that we've been chatting, or that we haven't dipped into this hour. We want to focus a lot on these local guys, but Tyler Batty is one of those names locally. He's pretty far down on the list of ranks of edge rushers. He had a decent combine and pro day, and he's a guy who obviously has the size and is quick enough. It's crazy because he's 265 and runs a 4.7, but that's like the norm now, right?
Yeah,
that edge rusher
that just
position
gets you into the interview room.
It's almost too slow. They're like, I need some 4.6 stuff going on here.
One of the biggest criticisms he's getting is he's called stiff. Sly will have to help us understand what that means, but that's the criticism for him.
Having watched him in college. Is there a team that, or is there a place for Tyler Batty in this draft, and if not this draft, to find himself onto a 53-man roster?
I mean, I hate to say it, but the Steelers.
Yeah.
I say his comp is Brett Kiesel.
Ooh.
Right, my teammate, I know Brett well, love Brett. Honestly, his personality, right? Talking to him,
it's pretty out there.
Yeah. That's the same as Brett, man. And the way he plays, his attitude, he has a kind of is it Max Crosby that's down in Las Vegas?
With the Raiders. Yeah.
He has a personality like that, but also a motor like that. But I see him in a 3-4 defense, a DN that's covered up by an outside linebacker, but playing that 3 technique to 4 technique
that's
outside to where he can rotate out on loose downs where the linebackers switch over and he could be a DN if you want to. But I think that he could get a lot of one-on-ones with those guards who aren't as athletic, and he could get around that, right? And that's to get around that stiffness that they're talking about. But he's also a solid dude, which honestly, you look at it, it's the same measurables as Brett Kiesel. He's actually a little faster and a little stronger than Brett Kiesel. Yeah. So, but honestly, in a Steelers system, that type of defense, I think that he could thrive with.
So you think a 3-4 at the next level is best for
3-4 defensive end, right? So not
I like that.
Not a 4-3 defensive end, but a 3-4 defensive end.
when you talk about local guys and guys who play defense and that interior defensive line, Junior Tafuna is one of these guys that's projected about the same type of a spot as Tyler Batty. Batty's like a 5th to 7th round guy. Tafuna is also graded as a 5th to 7th round guy, which, by the way, 5th to 7th round can easily translate into undrafted free agent because that. I mean, there are so many good players and there's so many names in the hopper when it comes to that these GMs have a lot to pick from and a lot of guys to try to break down.
40 defensive tackles in the draft.
It's crazy.
And ESPN has him ranked
24.
You
so
know
right in
what?
the middle of the pack.
The good thing is you know exactly what you get with a defensive tackle and what you want from a defensive tackle. Does Junior Tafuna have what it takes to get to that next level and to be a difference maker for a team in the NFL?
Honestly, I think he's already there, right? You know, I think what Junior Tafuna's upside is that he was a former linebacker converted down to D-line. So he's put on weight. So that athletic ability, that ability to go side to side, to chase down guys. I mean, there's some technique things that he needs to work on. Of course, you know, he's not been a defensive lineman his entire life. But I think he's definitely a prospect that you invest in, you know, down in the future. So I love him, man. And one, he's a personality that on your team you're absolutely going to love. He's just got the work ethic that you just can't undermine, right? You have to invest in a guy like that because he sets the tone. He's a team guy, and you know he's going to work. And so if you give him an opportunity, he's going to make it happen. And that's what I love about him. But again, I think he's just like a Tyler Batty situation, which, you know, when I first saw him, I thought he was short. But then you meet him, I'm like, no.
He's 6'4".
He's all of 6'4", right? 290, 300-pounder.
Yep.
That's great, right? And I think he could be, again, another 3-4 defensive end because of that athletic ability. And the fact that he's closer to 300 pounds, he's going to solidify that 3 gap. Not necessarily a nose guard. I don't see him as a nose guard, but a defensive end in a 3-4, that guy will be great, man. So I think he's going to be another value that people are going to find late in the draft, and he's gonna make a team.
When you look at some of these other locals that can make an impact, the guys that didn't play at BYU or Utah State, but have the ability to get drafted, and they maybe did their high school, here in the state of Utah, Oregon linebacker Jeffrey Bassa, who played, of course, at Kearns. Isn't it funny how you got Jeffrey Bassa and you got Jack Kelly? Like,
those Kearns teams were good.
They were so good, and nobody talks about that. Nobody talks about it.
Coach Rickers did a great job with that program. They're really good players.
Is that like a little tear that I see in our producer Alex's eye too? He's like, Kearns Cougars, go Cougs, go Cougs.
We had a moment.
Did you guys ever go to Zaxby's together with any of those cats, or was it
not with them?
Not with those guys. But again, Oregon linebacker. That's a guy who nobody knows really what exactly he's going to be at that next level in terms of, because his size isn't necessarily there, but he's a projected 3rd to 4th round guy. Any one of these local guys can come in, and if you played at Oregon, you're going to get a look already. But he's one of those guys who's got the exact body type for a linebacker in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, his athleticism is great. You know, JJ, we covered his games. We've seen this guy.
We've watched him extensively.
Come off the edge, line up in the middle, and he was just, in high school, so effective, right?
He was just an athlete in high school. He was a return guy. He was he played everything.
There's no reason for him to drop back and coverage. Like, I could get after. This is why the edge rusher's so great, right? If I could get back to the quarterback and not let the play happen, then why would I even need to drop back in coverage? And that's exactly what he was. That's why I blitzed every play in high school anyway. But
your coach was all, not this play. You're like, nope, I'm doing
we're in
it
cover
anyway.
2 and Sly's on the edge. What is he doing? He's got the middle hook. Like, what are you? But Jeffrey Bassa was extremely athletic, and you put on the Oregon tape, he's just quick. If he has great defensive linemen in front of him, he can make those plays. He can slide into those gaps and understands the game really well, and I think that's where he thrives. The problem where in some of his draft grades is that he does get bottled up. You know, some of those old linemen, he gets lost in the mix, and because of there's so much size inside, but as far as his sideline and sideline speed, that's what you invest in. And so if you want a guy in that 3rd, 4th, 5th round for special teams, he's going to get it done and eventually will rotate into a starting position.
What's Karene Reed's next level situation, you think? This is a guy who had all sorts of, he was, I think it projected early in this last season, it was like a 3rd, 4th round, and now he's projected as like a 6th round guy. Didn't have the most phenomenal pro days and looks there. now projected between the 6th and 7th round. What's Kirry Reed's life in the pros?
Man, I'm very biased because I've watched Kirry Reed this entire time, and so I know exactly what he's capable of. And for me, his intelligence is what reigns supreme as far as his skill set, and that's just nothing that the NFL scouts are going to be able to see quickly. And unless you are close to the program and know exactly what his shelf will be, guy smart in coverage. He can cover all the backs. He knows all the routes. He's a leader. All those things that you need. Playmaker all the time. But again, one of those guys that get kind of lost in the mix within an offensive lineman, which is a huge thing because it's like that's not easy to do. I don't know, easy or hard, whatever it is. Like I get lost in the offensive lineman all the time unless I know the exact play. If my defensive lineman ain't doing the job, I guarantee most linebackers are going to get lost. So people say that all the time, but as I said, the guy's extremely intelligent. If you want guys to make sure that your defense is lined up and everybody is doing their part, and this is that guy. And so I think those are his best intangibles. I think that his strongest skill sets, I'm hoping that NFL scouts will be able to see.
Yeah, I think Kirry, it's just because there's so many linebackers, Sly, and we've talked about this during the break, is there's just these teams feel like linebackers are kind of a dime a dozen.
Right.
So because of that, it's possible he could tumble out of the draft.
Right.
But I guarantee you, some team gets Kirry in their camp, and he starts going out there and he plays and he does his thing, and they get time to spend time with him in a room where they're going over their things. The coaches get to spend time with him, trying to run. This is what we want to do, and Kirry's going to be locked in. That guy's going to be a leader in those situations, even as a rookie. I think the team's going to fall in love with him in camp. He's going to make a roster. I feel confident that he's going to make a roster next year. He's going to be playing on a team. Is he going to get drafted? It's a crapshoot in those late rounds. Who knows?
Again, that's situation too, right?
Yeah,
which is exactly what he's going to want.
Team is going to want to spend time.
I hope if he's going to be picked 6th or 7th round, I hope Kirry doesn't get drafted so he can go pick that situation, and then he's going to succeed in the NFL.
Let's take another break here. We'll dive more into some of these local prospects here from the local schools, and we'll get into some of what the offensive side of the ball is going to bring for some of these guys as well. And look, there's a lot of guys out there. You wonder what they're going to bring you. You do not wonder what a guy like Jalen Royals is going to bring to a team, but that's a guy that so many folks are saying, hey, you could steal him in one of these in an early 2nd round. And what kind of guy they're going to get, we're going to chat a little bit more with Sly about that. So the offensive breakdowns of some of these locals here and who's going to get drafted potentially from the local schools and from the local high school set as well. So stay here. More to go. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Ladies and gentlemen, the biggest name.
You're locked into JJ and Alex, with the insight and analysis on the teams you can't live without. Presented by G2G Bars. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right. Do you believe in karma? Log on to KSLSports.com. Help us raise some money for a good cause. And let's get the karma vibes going really, really nice for this Jazz team for the NBA Draft Lottery. The way that we do it, you go to the KSL Sports webpage, get the KSL 2-for-1, the KSL Sports 2-for-1, by donating at least $2 to Intermountain Primary Children's Hospital in hopes of landing that number 1 pick. So, yeah, we don't gamble here in the state of Utah. What we do is we just help people out, and that's what we're doing.
We don't gamble in the state of Utah. We just do it in Mesquite and Wendover.
Always a way.
Listen, this is way better. Throw your money at Primary Children's Hospital, even if it doesn't take. You know that the money's going to go to a good cause, and that's what's going to happen if you donate. Make that donation right now. Go to KSLSports.com and make that $2 donation today. Okay. Let's get to some of the local players here again. Like I said, let's go to the offensive side of the ball. Let's talk about a name that you brought up the other day. I know you brought up Caleb Lohner as like a possibility of like sneaking in there. I don't think I don't know whose radars he would be on for a draft, except for the fact that he is 6'9", 260.
Say it again for the people in the back.
6'9", 260 is what Ed Too Tall Jones was coming out of college, and he was a D end, right?
Right.
This is a guy who has a 38.5-inch vert and is as athletic as it gets. And you say he actually could surprise people and actually maybe even have the best pro career of any of the guys we've talked about so far today.
Hands down. If he's utilized the right way, right?
That's
you get
crazy.
to a coach who knows how to utilize tight ends like that, like New Orleans used a Jimmy Graham, right? And Sean Payton's system. So Sean Payton, nudging at you, get you a Caleb Lohner that nobody's talking about right now. And utilization. We've seen these basketball players translate to great NFL tight ends.
Antonio Gates is now going to be a Hall of Famer.
Right. And so, like, this can happen. This will be awesome. The way that tight ends are utilized now on multiple teams, you get a guy like that, you are, especially if you pair him with a young quarterback, like a Bo Nix or even a Cam Ward, right? Like one of these young quarterbacks here, you pair that tight end with them and they just grow together, that would be awesome. Caleb Lohner is that for me.
Jalen Royals, the top prospect here locally out of Utah State,
Yeah.
the wideout that everybody knew was going to be one of these kind of early round guys. They have him projected early second to even a mid third round pick. Where do you put Jalen Royals when it comes to the possibility? I think that's a perfect spot for somebody to be in where you can find yourself on a team that's going to make an impact immediately. You also have to have teams that are in need of a wide receiver. I think if you go to KSLSports.com, the write-up that we have is teams like the Bears, Caleb Williams, a quarterback, obviously. The Saints, they need wide receivers, obviously.
Rams.
The Rams would be one of those groups as well.
Rams would be a great fit. Can you imagine him with Puka in that lineup?
Sean
Listen,
McVay.
think about when guys fly under the radar and then they come into camp. I mean, what did Puka go? 5th round?
Yeah.
Was he a 5th round guy? Jalen Royals has all the upside of a guy that that can make it in this league.
Right.
And everybody has known, okay, he checks all the eye tests, all those things. 4.4 speed, and everybody's 4.4 speed in the league, I feel like, these days. But he's one of these guys that just is a dynamic playmaker, and he's an excellent route runner. I think he's going to have a tremendous pro career, and I hope that he does go to a situation. Every one of these local guys, I'm like, I don't care if you go first, or I don't care if you go – just don't go to the Browns and don't go to the Jets and don't go – we just
Don't
learned –
go to the Seahawks.
If you go to the Seahawks, just please would you take care of my guys up there? That's a little bit of a plea from me. No, but I mean, like, Jalen Royals is a guy who can have a long-term NFL career.
Yeah, no question. Again, you guys said all the things. I think he's one of those guys who's going to be a great investment. For me, it was the more a character issue of not jumping into the portal when he definitely could have gone to another team and chased other things. He's like, no, I like what I'm doing over here. That translates to the NFL, to being a good character, to being more about your business and getting stuff done. Honestly, if he does go to a Seattle team, you match him with Jackson Smith and Jigba up there, with Sam Darnold now at your quarterback, and they're changing things up there. That might be a great situation for him. It's a situational fit, and I think that he goes across the board with a lot of things. He might go to Tennessee. Tennessee needs a lot of things. They get a young quarterback in there, and you get a top 3 round receiver as far as Jalen Royals, who could go, overlooked because people are looking for more of the blue blood schools. Jalen Royals is a talent, great hands. Seeing him in person, he is all that we are talking about. And so I think that any team that gets him are going to be very
See what I'm
smart.
wearing right
Don't
now?
do it.
Bo Nix needs a guy. I love Jalen Royals. And look, the Broncos, they don't have like this massive amount of wide receiver depth. Devon Bailey was a nice ad last year, but there's room in that room for another guy, another dude. And Jalen Royals, Sly, you talked about on the KSL Sports Live, everything you want a receiver to do, he can do it. He can go deep. He can run the short routes. Mm-hmm. He does everything. I mean, that's how his skill set.
Tough. He blocks. His
skill set's going to allow him to
Yeah.
fit anywhere he needs to go and be successful.
One of the interesting conversations we've had kind of underlying all this, and I don't want to put this juju out there, but at the same time, it's a question because we could have a draft this year where BYU and Utah does not have a player taken. For the University of Utah, that's even more wild because they've just been pumping guys into the NFL. Is there a possibility that Utah and BYU are shut out of a draft pick this year?
It's a real possibility.
Are you saying there's a chance? I don't see it.
I hope not. I'm not cheerleading for this. Don't get me wrong.
Who's the slam dunk draft pick then?
That's the problem.
It's not just like who's going to fit. It's about
There's nobody going on day 1 or day 2. So then you
Right.
get to day 3 and it's a crapshoot.
Yeah, then you go rounds 4 through 7 again. the books are thick on every guy that's out there still, and they've got hundreds of dudes who they're looking at, and a lot of them they go, why don't we just wait to sign that guy in undrafted free agency? So, and not that it's that big of a deal, but when you don't have draft picks, like we've talked about this too, it's a big deal. You want to be able to, like, what does having Utah, what do they get? They have like here locally, they're the team that puts multiple guys in the draft every year. That's the thing. So when it comes to recruiting, guys want to see that you've put dudes in the NFL, right? Because when you sit down, every one of these coaches has to tell these kids, because this is what they want to hear when they're getting recruited, is we're going to put you in the NFL. We put dudes in the NFL. And at the same time, like these are extremely talented teams and extremely talented rosters, and it just happens sometimes that they just don't put a lot of guys in the draft.
Yeah, I mean, there's always an opportunity for that, right? The draft hasn't happened. We can't sit here and be like, oh, I'm guaranteed X, Y, Z. You just never know. I think it's more surprising that we don't have, somebody in the first 3 rounds.
Right. It's been a long time since that's happened.
That's the shocker. But I definitely think you'll get somebody. I think Junior Tafuna is going to get drafted. Kirry Reed, people are talking about, just size factor. If people are looking at athleticism, these guys have career track records that you can look at, right? Brant Keithy is going to slip simply because of his injury. Otherwise, he would be a lock for a draft pick in here. But you got guys like Dorian Singer. He was a Pac-12, all-conference offensive player of the year type guy who has amazing potential, but just had a terrible year with Utah because we had 0 quarterback play.
Yeah.
How do you take his talent out? He played every single game last year. And so, tough guy. He's a guy that I would say is, 5th, 6th round draft pick as far as talent. So to completely shut him out is crazy. There's a lot of guys, on
Caleb
this team.
Etienne at BYU is a guy that I think really helped his stock, and I think a lot of teams are going to look at him, Sly, and say, like, that guy, he's got a big body, big frame.
I can do
work
something
with him.
I didn't see Kingsley Sumatia getting drafted like that.
Well, yeah, and to see Caleb Etienne blossom into what he was last year with BYU probably changed a lot of minds of scouts.
Correct.
To go from that player that they didn't want at Oklahoma State to now a guy that could play in the NFL. So that's a guy that could go late in rounds as well. But, Jacob Robinson, I think we'd all sit here and agree, like, Jacob Robinson's an NFL corner.
I've been talking about him for years, yeah.
He's not even in the rankings here in the ESPN corner. Like, are you kidding me? Like, any scout that's done his work has come and seen him play in person.
Especially this past
BYU was in the
season.
top 25.
There's a Netflix special about this team, and you tell me there's nobody out? Like, what's going on?
So, and his film speaks.
Right.
Like, and the dude he makes plays.
Intelligent.
That's the thing that stands out to me is you want to draft a guy or sign a guy that's going to be a playmaker that makes things happen, and Jacob Robinson makes things happen. So I can't he's probably not going to get drafted, but that tells you just how much talent there is out there.
Do you know how he did his pro day? I don't remember exactly.
I think he had a pretty nice 40 time, but he was at Big 12 pro day, right?
Yeah, it was the Big 12.
He didn't get invited to the combine.
Yeah.
And just getting invited to the combine doesn't guarantee you a draft spot anymore, too. So it's crazy that that's a possibility, but it is a possibility. And a lot of mock drafts you look at, take that with a grain of salt. That's just mock drafts. But a lot of mock drafts don't have any BYU or Utah players taken in this draft.
How big is Jacob Robinson, too? Is he undersized? That might be a question.
5'11", 170.
4.39, by the way, at Pro Day, at the Big 12 Pro Day.
That's great.
Really good.
I don't get it.
5'11", I bet you McDuffie's that same height.
So, yeah, and I don't think I think it's really the weight that you start to look at because.
I mean, be a coach. You get some money and put some weight on the dude. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
170 is light, right? But
second fastest.
It didn't prevent him from making a lot of plays.
Yeah,
He's got some great
there.
film.
McDuffie's 5'11".
Yeah.
Right? McDuffie's 190 though.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I think you want to add. You'll say you need to put on 15 to 20 pounds.
All right. That was his ESPN weight, which could have been from his sophomore year. What did he weigh in at a pro day?
I didn't see the actual pro day number, but by the way, second fastest guy for among defensive backs at
they got him at 181. which is a little bit more, but
That's like John Randall wearing
5'11", 180.
That's John Randall wearing those chains to his weight to when he got weighed in. He put chains under his sweats. Remember that story?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean
story. That's what we did. I'm familiar.
Got a bag of nickels in your sneakers.
Coaches on the left side, the 5-pound weights in the left part of your girdle. Oh, I know that. I know that trick. We did that.
So Mark Collins was also a guy who went to pro day for BYU, but Jacob Robinson, I think. I mean, this is a guy who was an all-conference dude.
Right.
11 picks in his career. Like he was always the solid corner, the cover corner that BYU had in their back pocket over the last 2 years. So, some guys that could be sneaky on a team, but I could see here locally. It's crazy to think of a BYU team going 11-2 and not having a guy who is a first, second, third round like guarantee somewhere in there.
It's a tribute to what they did last year.
Part of it is
that
too.
coaching staff, Jay Hill, and Kalani, and Aaron Roderick doing a great job of that offense.
Part of it is too is that a lot of them are young and they've come back and they're on that roster again. I think Jack Kelly will be an NFL guy. I think Isaiah Glasker probably end up being an NFL guy. It's
Glasker for sure.
Yeah, and I think that you also
Chase Roberts, if he has a big year, has a chance to do that as well.
And think about it, Utah, same thing. They're going to have 2 first-round offensive tackles over the next couple of years. So
if everybody doesn't jump into the portal,
stay tuned.
Come on.
Utah's sweating through Friday right now.
JJ did what I just did.
2 more days.
JJ did what I just
24 hours.
did. Looked at the clock and went, oh, yeah, we have time to ask Sly about what he thinks about the what's happening up at Utah between Utah and BYU.
Everybody's doing it.
Right,
why is Harrison Taggart in the portal?
I think he got word that there could be some money somewhere else, and bada bing, bada boom.
Short money.
A little bit of a scheme change could be impacting that as well.
Scheme change. It's the best scheme. I know the scheme.
I know the
bro, you're the starter.
When you're doing a 4-2 and you're the 3.
Hey.
You get what I mean?
Yeah. I got
All right.
you.
All right, we'll take the break here. We'll come back. We'll chat a little bit more about this and much more. Maybe we'll have to shift and go that direction. Stay with us right here, 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
Your home for the best coverage of the Jazz, Utes, and Cougars is right here on The Zone. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
Glad we're ending this with some yacht rock.
Yeah, this hour needed to get capped off with something like this. Some Michael McDonald. Welcome back to the show, by the way. JJ and Alex, and of course, Sly Sylvester joining us on our draft coverage today. You had fun today so far, Sly? We have a great.
We're talking about sports.
I know,
How
man.
could you not have fun? JJ's wearing a bright caution jersey right now. Like, how can you not have fun?
You do
This
look
is
like
awesome.
you do
Just
look
going
like
to my third job tonight as a construction worker.
Yeah, no, not a worker, a cone. Yeah. That's what that puts off.
You'd be
construction
surprised
vibes.
how good it pays.
To hold the slow and stop sign.
Oh,
Hey,
That's
great benefits.
I always love those guys.
That's almost 6-figure
gals.
job right there.
And I'm like, I know when you see them turn the sign over to slow, and you go, "There's $36 an hour." Boom. That's amazing.
Good work if you can get it.
Hey, and you can. Listen, we got a couple more things to break down here. I did want to ask Sly before we got out though. This hour, what is your what's your vibe on the Zacharias Williamson thing? Because
Oh gosh.
when we were going through this whole deal, and then BYU and Utah are pointing the finger at one another for cheating and tampering, and all the words that end in IN with an apostrophe on it. He's cheating. He's tampering.
And now there's this
He's fooling.
rumor that there's a big bag coming for Smith Snowden.
Oh yeah,
from Provo.
that BYU's trying to figure out
Stay
a way to
tuned
get
over the next
If
48 hours.
anybody is surprised nowadays with anything that goes on, you're a fool.
No, shouldn't be.
Everything, it's the Wild Wild West. It's literally everything goes.
Dude, basketball is paving the way, by the way.
Yeah.
Basketball's like, yeah, we don't care. Throw some money, throw the money over there. Hey, these guys are jumping in the portal, and everyone's going, yeah, good money if you can get
Kentucky has 9 players that they offered $3 million or more dollars to.
But suddenly we all look at each other and we go, how dare they? This is sacred football. And it's like, nah.
It's so crazy because like people would think I'd be mad at the kid. I'm like, I'm not mad at the kids. Hey, as I said, 17, 18-year-old Sly, come on now. throw me a bag. I don't
Yeah.
know what I would
Oh,
do,
yeah.
right? But like being able to see, what translates and does this short money actually help my future?
These kids don't have
They
that
don't.
wisdom.
They don't have that wisdom, right?
No.
It's the old statement of try to tell a broke man that money is evil,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And that's
But
just
Sly, what about family on 3?
hey man, show me a bag. You tell me what family, right? Family will stab you in the back.
Bank account on
Right.
3. Bank account on 3. Yeah,
Right
it's
there,
not-
that's what it
it's
is.
not family on 3.
Show me the bag.
So
What did Jerry Maguire show me the money?
yeah, show me the money. That's
Let's
exactly
go.
right.
Let's go.
So we were chatting a little bit about what draft picks can do to change your team. Is there a team that you look at and you go, "Oh man, if they got a player at this one position, is there a way for because look, Rusty Keys is down the hallway and he's conspiring in this draft to figure out how to make sure to kind of shore up something to be able to not finish second again in the league. Is there a team that is on the cusp of becoming a Super Bowl champion, and this draft will get them there? Is there ever that kind of power in the draft?
This is the best question because you have no idea like what. Because honestly, I think everything changes year to year. Like last year, I could have needed a running back, right? Last year, the Bills could have used, Von Miller's kind of out. But what if they had like an outstanding pass rusher on that side or a better running back to handle 4th and inches, right? Are they a player away? Which that situation may change this year coming up because, somebody knows how to deal with it, right? Like the Philadelphia Eagles' success last year won't translate to this year. They can't have the same personnel and expect that to work, right? Like is, the Washington Commanders a running back away from, becoming, just the Northeast or what division is that? Stupid
That's
NFC
the NFC East,
NFC
yes.
East. I was going to say Northeast. NFC East. Are they a player away there? Honestly, all these teams, Abdul Carter to me is just a game changer. The problem is that the teams that could use a guy like that to change it.
He's not
going
to put the Giants over the top.
He's not going to put the Browns over the top. He's not going to put one of the. I'm not sure he's going to go to the Giants. I mean, you just drafted Kayvon Thibodeau, 2 years ago. He's coming into his own. Why don't you use that, pick on somebody else that you need within that, right? Like, how are you going to do that? Are you so sure that Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston is going to lead you to a future?
I've got
right?
one. I got one.
Let me hear it.
How about the Bengals at 17? Maybe they can move up 2 or 3 spots, but they go get one of those 2 tight ends, Colston Loveland or Tyler Warren. And you put those tight ends on that Bengals offense with what they currently have. Ooh, boy.
Okay.
That's a team. The Bengals were in the Super Bowl just 3 years ago.
I don't hate it.
I do. That's what you're investing in. The guy had what the top offense in the league and didn't even make the playoffs.
Because their defense was horrific.
Okay, they're not a tight end away from going to the Super Bowl.
Can Tyler
Fair
Warren
enough.
play
Fair
defensive
enough.
end?
How about the Chargers?
Ooh, I like that.
But what do the Chargers need? That's I'm looking at these teams that are right on the fringe, like that aren't quite there, but they just need that one player in the first round.
Is Herbert that guy though?
I think he is.
I think he is. I
think
just
he is
don't
at
know
some point,
that
probably
they
not
just
right
don't
now.
have quite enough. Like they made the playoffs last year.
They need one, and they had their wide receiver group is a bunch of no names. Like they barely got they.
So what if they were to move up to get Tet?
Yeah. All right.
There you go.
Texans and Tet.
Oh, okay. That
Away.
could be one
Oh,
that could
boy.
happen.
Texans and Tet away because I
There you
love
go.
their defense. Their defense is young, coming into their own. They got cornerbacks, pass rushers, all of that. Derek Stingley, Will Anderson on the defensive side of the ball. They're extremely athletic on the defensive side of the ball. But if you get Nico Collins coming back, Tank Dell coming back, and a Teteroa McMillan, if I can say
Call
that
him
right.
McMillian, dude.
We could
That's-
go
that's
on. We
gonna
could
be
go on
good.
another 30 minutes on this topic.
$1
We've got more around the
Marion
corner.
Hampton to the Broncos. I got it in there.
Don't miss any of it. We still have more to go, so stay right here, dialed in 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.